Okay, we ready? Are we ready? All right, we're calling this meeting to order. City Clerk, can you please do the roll call?
Mayor Olson,
Here.
Mayor Betancourt, my apologies. Mayor Pro Tem Bishop,
Here.
council members Loa,
Here.
Betancourt,
Here.
and Alakan.
Here.
Excuse the accident.
All good.
You're forgiven.
Thank you.
Mayor Betancourt, would you like to do the pledge?
Everybody please rise. Place your right hand over your heart and face the flag and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we can do a moment of silence, please, for just a minute. Thank you.
Okay, City Clerk, could you please play the public code of conduct?
Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? The meeting of the Palmdale City Council is now in order. A code of conduct will now be read, and we request that you comply with it to ensure the efficient administration of the meeting. Members of the public, it is your right to participate in today's City Council meeting, and the Council encourages such participation. However, the right of the public to address the council must be balanced with the need to ensure that public comment does not interfere with the orderly course of the council's business. All are reminded to abide by the following rules. Speakers must cease speaking immediately when their time has ended. Public comment on agenda items must relate to the subject matter of that item. General public comment is limited to subjects within the jurisdiction of the council. Public comment does not include the right to engage in a dialogue with council members or staff. Please remain respectful of the forum and refrain from uttering, writing, or displaying profane, personal, threatening, derogatory, demeaning, or other abusive statements towards the council, any member thereof, staff, or any other person. Members of the audience should be respectful of the views expressed by speakers, staff, and council members, and may not excessively clap, cheer, whistle, or otherwise disrupt the orderly conduct of the meeting. Any person engaging in conduct that disrupts the meeting is subject to being removed from the council meeting. Finally, if you witness conduct or behavior by other members of the public that disrupts your ability to remain engaged or participate in this meeting, please notify city staff. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you. Could you now play the cute critter video? Great, thank you so much. If you don't have a dog, get one. They're the best thing in the world. Seriously, and there's a lot of them at that shelter that need a family. So hopefully, if you have the room and space in your home and heart, please help those animals out.
Any furry friend.
Any furry friend. I just like dogs, but you can like whatever you want. Okay, City Clerk, can you please acknowledge the observances for the month of February?
The city would like to acknowledge the following observances: American Heart Month, Black History Month, and National Cancer Prevention Month. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We will now move on to item 4 of the agenda, presentations. We're going to honor 2 employees on their retirement from City of Palmdale, Roxanne Faber and Linda Willis. So I will come down and present you your proclamations. Okay. We're going to start with Roxanne Faber, if you want to join me. No, we thank you. Dedicated 20 years of service to the city of Palmdale. You began your career as secretary in the city clerk's office in October 31 of 2005. Promoted to administrative secretary 2007 and later advanced to deputy city clerk in the city clerk office in 2012. Roxanne served admirably as acting city clerk starting August 1st, 2022, and was officially appointed the city clerk in April of 2024. You have been amazing to us. We appreciate the service that you have done to our city and our community, and we are deeply going to miss you. Would the entire council like to come down for the picture?
Rubbing against.
The floor is yours.
For a minute. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is bittersweet. I have enjoyed my 20 years here at the city. Mayor, council, city management, thank you for making this a place to call home. Thank you to my amazing team who's sitting right behind me, always holding me up. And a special thank you to my co-clerk, Rochelle Scott. Without you by my side, I could not have done this. Thank you very much. I am going to miss each and every one of you. It has been an honor to serve the citizens of the city of Palmdale. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Linda, it's your turn.
Let's go, Linda. Let's go.
So Linda began her career in 1995.
Yeah.
That's over 30 years to the city of Palmdale. Linda served with exceptional professionalism in numerous roles, including production stage manager, in-house director, stage manager for all in-house productions, and presenter of all in-house shows. You've done a lot. Researcher and manager of the Summer Theater Camp for the Youth from 1996 to 2024. And throughout her tenure, Linda has constantly exceeded without exception. Look,
Look.
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's all here. It's the same thing. That's already a lot. And whenever we go over to the Playhouse,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we're excited to see you because you're
Thank
so
you.
joyful and knowledgeable in what you do.
Thank you.
And, you know, the city is losing a gem with you.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, so
I appreciate
here's
that.
your
Here, I'll hold
certificate.
it up.
Would the council like to join again?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody's coming. Here they come. Hi. We've been here a long time together too, haven't we? Yes, we have been a very long time. Yep. All right. We're probably centered now. Turn around, hold it. Yeah, I know. Turn around, hold it straight. Okay. My Linda smile. Really, oh, it's crazy, right? Oh, thank you. Oh, my God. Oh, I'll see you somewhere. Bye, Nora. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, yes, I'm not going far, I'm not moving away. Wait, yeah, here we go. You ready? Okay, ready? Okay. So I get to talk?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm loud without this.
Start the timer.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to follow protocol. Wow, I'm gonna set this down. I got hired at the Palmdale Playhouse in December of 1995, and I was actually at a job interview for a different job. And I got a call, I got a page, and I went to found a payphone. And this is true. I went found a payphone, and I called, and they said, we're offering you a position at the city of Palmdale, at the brand new theater that's being built. It was 1 year old. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'd rather do that. That sounds like a lot more fun. So I left the other job interview. And that was in August of 95. I started in December. Some of my family's here. I've got my husband, my good friend Stacia, my daughter, 2 of my grandkids, my brother-in-law, to celebrate with me. I will echo everything Roxanne said. This is the coolest place in the world to work. I avoided 3, I believe, rounds of layoffs by the grace of God. I don't know why. I'm still here. I love working at the Playhouse. I would love working for the city. At the amphitheater, all the people. It's been like a, what did I say at the Playhouse? It's like a roller coaster ride looking through a kaleidoscope. Has been my career here. It is wild. It's absolutely wild to work here. Every day is different. We've done shows, events. I have so many friends. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'm actually friends with everyone, which I think is really cool. Not just an employee, we're all friends. And we all work together, and we all do whatever we can for each other to make things work the best they can. So thank you, City of Palmdale. Thank you, Mayor, and congratulations on your mayor appointment.
No, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. 30 years. Another round of applause.
I can't even believe it. Thank you. I'm gonna go sit back over here.
Okay. Let's hear it one more time for Roxanne and Linda. Thank you. All right, we'll give it 1 second for some folks to clear out.
We've been requested to take a picture together. Ah, good idea.
Ah.
I forgot to do that. For the archive. There we go. All right. Congratulations again, Roxanne.
She's heading for the door. She's not wasting any time.
There goes our audience.
Oh, you mean they weren't here to see, they weren't here to see us?
All right, sorry, just 1 second. We'll let the room clear out. Okay, item 4.2, we're going to receive a presentation from the Planning, Building, and Safety Division.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Megan Taggart. I'm the Director of Economic and Community Development. This evening, our Planning Manager, Brenda Magana, and our Building Official, Brian George, will give an update on all of the exciting things our team has been doing in the past year and some exciting things that will be coming in the coming year.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I will provide an overview of the Planning Division's role within the city, highlight our accomplishments from the past year, and discuss what we have to look forward to in the coming year. I know this is a little bit of a repeat, but just want to give you an overview of the roles and responsibilities with the Planning Division. We consist of 11 employees, 1 senior planner, the 3 associate planners, 2 assistant planners, 2 planning aides, 1 business license coordinator, and 1 administrative assistant. The division's primary responsibilities include processing planning and business license applications and conducting environmental review of development projects to ensure compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. We also perform plan reviews in collaboration with our internal departments, including engineering, traffic, building and safety, environmental waste, and public safety, as well as our external agencies such as LA County Fire, Antelope Valley Air Quality Management District, and our water providers, just to name a few. These reviews ensure the development projects comply with the city's general plan and the Palmdale Municipal Code. Development Advisory Board meetings, commonly referred to as DAB meetings, are held twice a month on the second and fourth Wednesdays. These meetings bring together internal staff and outside agencies to really give the applicant a comprehensive 360-degree view of our development process. Planning Commission meetings are held on the second Thursday of each month. Staff works diligently to meet all noticing requirements and ensure the commission has information necessary to make informed decisions. 2025 was a very busy year for the Planning Division. Our counter staff plays a critical role in serving residents and the development community, responding to inquiries in person, by phone, and via email. In 2025, staff handled over 9,000 phone calls, more than 2,000 counter visits, and responded to over 11,000 email inquiries. Additionally, we processed over 1,000 new business licenses, more than 7,000 business license renewals, and 59 new business permits, and over 100 business permit renewals. In total, the division received 577 planning applications in 2025. Staff approved nearly 200,000 square feet of commercial development and over 3.5 million square feet of industrial development. We also adopted 12 environmental documents and certified 1 EIR. This map on the screen kind of gives you a snapshot of all the development projects in the city. Next slide. So, single-family residential development. We approved 3 projects totaling 225 units. An additional 10 projects are currently under review, representing 2,386 lots. As far as multifamily residential development, 5 projects were approved, totaling 795 units. There are currently 9 projects under review, totaling 1,204 units. Commercial development approvals included 6 projects, a new office building, a Vallarta supermarket, 2 fueling stations, a hotel, and a new gym and career technical education building for Palmdale Academy Charter School. There are currently 4 commercial projects under review, including a hotel, fueling station, and spec commercial building. There's also a community assembly building for Faith Community Church. Industrial development approvals include 8 projects, such as new mining facility, 2 personal storage facilities, and 4 warehouse facilities. 8 industrial projects are currently under review, including 4 personal storage facilities, 3 warehouse facilities, and an expansion of the existing Copart facility. And finally, what I'm most excited to share with you is we now have an interactive map available to the public, and it shows all the projects that are either in review, under construction, or recently approved. And when you zoom in, you can see who the builder is, who the planner is that's working on it, and you have direct contact information should you have any questions. This concludes my my portion of the presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Do you have a statistic for projects actually completed, whether it's housing, industrial, office?
I'm going to let Brian touch on that. That's going to be in the building and safety portion of the
That's in
presentation.
the building and safety,
Yeah.
okay, and included occupancy permits that may have been issued in 2025?
Correct.
Great, okay, Brenda, thank you.
All right, I will hand it off to Brian.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'll be presenting a look back at building and safety in 2025 and some of the projects that we can look forward to in 26. The Building and Safety Division consists of 18 staff members, including a senior analyst, 3 plan reviewers, 5 permit technicians, an office assistant, and 7 building inspectors. Staff is responsible for building permit applications and payments, plan review, building inspections, participating in development advisory board meetings, coordinating with developers and customers and assisting at the building and safety counter, and maintaining compliance with federal and state legislation. In 2025, staff processed 6,382 permit applications, conducted over 10,000 plan reviews, and performed close to 18,000 building inspections. The total valuation of all the projects for 2025 was just over $134 million. Building and Safety published the city's comprehensive development guide, consolidating development requirements, submittal standards, and permitting steps into a single accessible resource. Coordinated between city divisions to ensure accuracy, consistency, and service expectations, it is now available on the city's website. Building and Safety adopted the 2025 California Building Code. 2025 was a code change year, went into effect January 1, 2026. Ensuring compliance with the statewide code requirements and improving clarity and applications for the staff. As part of the code adoption process, amendments were made to the Palmdale Municipal Code, allowing applications to request up to 2 permit application extensions to ensure building permits at no additional cost. These changes reduce unnecessary resubmittals, preserve completed city reviews, and streamline the permitting process for projects that have already obtained approvals. In August of 2025, Building and Safety worked with CAL FIRE, our regional partners, and the Los Angeles County Fire Department throughout the adoption process for the updated fire hazard severity zone maps. Staff conducted community workshops, provided informational outreach, and coordinated with other agencies to clearly communicate the new fire risk designations and building code requirements. In addition, staff provided informational material to help residents and builders, as well as developers, understand the updated fire hazard severity zones and the required mitigation measures. Staff worked to expand our existing permit navigation aid to include commercial permit workflows following the successful launch of the residential version in 2024. We added new guidance features, improved step-based navigation, and linked reference resources to help applicants identify permit types and submittal requirements. The added commercial permit types include new construction, tenant improvement, cellular sites, and electric vehicle charging stations. Some of the projects that we've completed in 2025, Juniper Valley Townhomes were completed at the end of 2025. The project consists of 70 townhomes located on the corner of 25th Street East and Avenue Q. The development is a gated residential community with 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom units. The townhomes include standard residential features such as energy-efficient appliances, modern climate control, private balconies, and patios. On-site amenities include a community room, laundry facilities, outdoor recreation space, and a children's play area. Mr. Car Wash, located on Palmdale Boulevard and 18th Street East, was completed in the fall of 2025 and is now operational. Staff continued to facilitate affordable housing production in support of state-mandated housing goals, with staff effectively reviewing and processing construction plans for 4 major affordable housing developments. The Knights Inn Home Key conversion is located on Palmdale Boulevard and Division Street. Staff have reviewed and approved construction and renovation plans for converting the former Knights Inn Motel into 100 units of permanent supportive housing for individuals and families experiencing homelessness. The Seguro Affordable Housing Project is currently in plan review for 264 units of affordable housing located on a 9-acre site on 15th Street East. The project consists of 11 3-story residential buildings with amenities including a swimming pool, a splash pad, pickleball court, a dog play area, vegetable garden, and 2 clubhouse buildings with a gym and a learning center. All units are designated for household at or below the low income threshold. Zenith Multifamily Affordable Project is currently under review for a 272-unit affordable housing development located at Q and 25th Street East. The project includes affordable units to families earning 30 to 60% of the AMI, along with the community center, after-school program space, a splash pad, and recreational courts. Construction is anticipated to begin February of 26. Banna at Palmdale mixed-use development is under plan review for a 48-unit low-income housing development on 9th Street East just south of Avenue Q. The 1 acre project includes 3 5-story buildings with 20 2-bedroom units and 28 3-bedroom units. The development includes a retail component fronting 9th Street East to support neighborhood vitality. Together California Children's Village is currently under construction on a 4-acre site adjacent to McAdam Park. The project includes construction of 12 3-bedroom single-family homes, a 7,000 square foot community center, a studio apartment units to support transitional and family services. Site work also includes the construction of recreational play areas and outdoor activity spaces. The project is anticipated for completion later this year. Round 1, bowling and arcade. This is a project at the Antelope Valley Mall. It involves 75,000 square feet of tenant improvement space within the former Forever 21 space. Construction includes the installation of bowling lanes, arcade areas, karaoke rooms, billiards, along with the fire, life safety, and accessibility improvements necessary. Again, completion of this project is anticipated later this year. This concludes my portion of the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Same question, Brenda, completed projects, number of residential units that were completed, multifamily units completed, industrial units completed.
So the number of residential units, both single family and multifamily, C of O was 175 units. Permits issued were 185. So those are the residential.
Or office or, other mixed-use projects.
Mixed use, I don't have the statistic for the completed ones. I can get that to you.
So would you say that for 2026, we'll be increasing the number of units that will be completed as opposed to 25?
I'd say it's an increase based on the projects that we discussed here. Alone, a 264 unit plus a 272 unit.
Right.
That alone is going to exceed the 175 easily. And then, of course, we've got our single-family homes and tracks and things that are still going on. So, yeah, we're still busy.
Okay.
We're still busy.
All right, thank you.
Well, just one. So I don't expect that you have all of the information available, but I'd like to request if we can get a sort of a report back or even an additional presentation at a future date, an overview of our housing element requirements over the past, I don't know, however many years, and our current numbers and what we need to produce and develop moving forward in order to meet those housing element numbers.
Yeah, we're working on the housing report right now.
Oh, perfect.
So that's where some of those numbers came from. That's why I have them, because we've been working on that the last couple of days. So, but to supplement, yes, we'll give you a comprehensive
Wonderful.
list.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are you good? Did you have anything?
I don't have any questions. I just want to say, one of my favorite things about the city of Palmdale is all the open space and the land that we have. And watching the city grow over the years is really just, it's been fantastic. And I want to thank the staff, Building Safety, Econ Dev, for remaining business friendly. That wasn't always the case, but we're in a good spot now where investors and developers are coming, and we see multiple projects happening at the same time. And you can see the enthusiasm online because there's realtors that talk about the projects that we have coming, specifically Round 1 urban air and housing projects. And it has, I think the one post has 6,000 shares on Instagram about the Round 1 and hundreds of thousands of views. So the work that this city is doing is paying off by bringing not only housing, but retail and then jobs. So thank you to the staff for keeping the city business friendly and helping these projects move forward.
Would you say everything's coming up Palmdale?
I would.
And it looks specifically on Avenue Q. Everything's coming up Avenue Q. Moving on. We're good? All right. Consent calendar. Interim city manager, do you have any items you're pulling?
Mayor, members of the city council, no, we don't have any items to pull at this time.
Okay, can we call for public?
So if I could, I don't know if, I guess this is a point of order, but I'd like to pull a couple items, but clarification maybe for the public. So on 5-4, the intent, I believe, of putting this on the agenda, at least when my intent, acting last council meeting, was to allow the public a sort of a real opportunity to comment on the item and to respond on the selection of our city manager and its process. It's on the consent, and so I just wanted to, and then our rules required that the public only be afforded 3 minutes for consent and a various number of other sections of the agenda. In the case that there are members of the public that would like to comment on 5-4, I would like to afford them, and because it's such an important issue for our city, the appointment of our city manager, I would like to suggest, depending on how many comment cards we get, to suggest that we afford our public the opportunity to speak for 3 minutes on that item separately, as opposed to 3 minutes for the consent. I think the rules require the consent, public hearings, appointments, new business, and closed session all together. So I just wanted to make sure that the public has an opportunity to talk about the city manager separately and enough time to talk about that issue rather than clumping it all together into a 3 minute period for all consent, all new business, all closed session, and all appointments. So,
How many cards do we have for 5-4?
We don't have any cards for 5-4 at all. We do have just one card for other items.
Okay, so let's just do that, and if they want to go
Right.
more than 3 talking about that, I'll allow them extra time.
okay, wonderful. So can we maybe, I'm going to pull a couple of those items, including 5-4, but maybe afford the opportunity for the public to fill out a card and take 5-4 after the other items that we pull?
Well, I think if they want to talk about it, they already would have
They're
filled
just
out a
going to
card.
jump up? Okay.
Then, if you can't do it within your 3 minutes, I'll give you a little bit extra time. But I think for efficiency's sakes, let's just see how it goes. If they want to continue and talk about that specifically, I'll consider allowing the extra time.
So the net effect of that is that 5.4 is being pulled.
Right, so I'm going to pull 5-4. I just want to make sure that the public has an opportunity to fill out a comment card and know that they've got, 3 minutes to talk about it separate from all the other items that it's lumped in with.
And I have to pull 5.7 and recuse myself, as that item will have a direct impact on my property.
Okay. Let's call for public comment, and then once that's done, we'll see if there's any other items to be pulled, and we'll go from there.
We have Mr. Jason Zink. He's coming on 5.1, 5.5, 5.6, and 5.7.
I had some comments on 4.2 too, if I can just speak real quick on that, the planning presentation.
Yeah, can you do it all
Yeah,
in your 3 minutes here?
On the planning presentation, I agree, we need 6,800 units, right? And we only had 155 units built 2024 and 175 units built in 2025. I think that number needs to be talked about a lot more. Also, I love the project map that's on the website where people can look and see what projects there are near them. But the thing is, it doesn't have the developer contact information on it. And it's always been there. It's always been on the public notice signs and everything. Regarding the public notice signs, we've always had the contact number of the developer, but you have these big letters, but nobody knows what those letters mean, multifamily, whatever. 99.9% of Palmdale doesn't know what those letters mean. Why can't we just have it say Palmdale, public notice on the sign? Let's remove that letter that nobody knows except staff. Also, the rental applications. How many rental applications do we have in the city of Palmdale? Wouldn't you like to know that? I would. As far as 5.5, the agenda should state, it says road rehabilitation and Palmdale Boulevard project. But it doesn't say from what spot to what spot. It should say 50th East to 70th Street East, right? So people that look at this agenda, it's called common courtesy, it's called common sense, it's called taking the time on these agendas so people know what they're talking about. So you guys know what people are talking about. On the Corson Park, I don't know, I've yet to see a final map of what it's gonna look like. I don't know if it has gonna have grass or anything. It says it's gonna be drought tolerant. That means no grass, right? It should be the most beautiful park in the city of Palmdale because it's in the heart of the city. So I'd like more information on that. And there should be big pictures of what it looks like in all these projects. On TVs, monitoring, rolling screens of what these projects are in Palmdale, so you promote it. On the Anna Verde project, I'm finally glad to see that moving forward. So that should have been one of your first things you did when you first got elected 9 years ago, Austin Bishop. But the whole thing is, I know, look how many grants we've missed. A whole $1 trillion American infrastructure. And we didn't get very little money from it because we have no strategy at all. Because we sit on these things for 9 years. But there should be a series of dams going all the way down that Anna Verde wash. Not just so we capture all the water in one spot, but all the way through it. It's just common sense. That way, and why would you want to take the most valuable piece of property, one of the most valuable, on Avenue R and 5th Street East, and put a flood control basin? It should be a beautiful park, and it should be about 5 of those Corson Colony apartment buildings. And that should have already, you could take the floor plans
Jason,
from that project.
thank you. I'll give you 60 seconds if you want to talk about 5-4, but the 3 minutes on the rest of consent is
Yeah,
up.
but this is important stuff.
Yeah, I
that
understand.
Your
but if
staff
I let-
isn't bringing up.
But I understand, but your 3
Yeah.
minutes is up.
Okay, but.
Jason?
What's that?
Do you want to talk about 5-4? I'll give you extra 60 seconds, but your 3 minutes
5-4.
is up.
Yeah.
Let's go outside.
No,
Yeah, no, they don't want you to talk anymore.
I'm sorry, he just gave
wants-
you 60 seconds.
I said I'll give him 60 seconds on 5-4, but nothing else on the consent.
Yeah, the city manager, don't try to
Hey,
bully
talk-
me. The city manager, it should be somebody of high caliber, like City of Santa Clarita, who cares, where you don't see potholes, where all the signs are replaced within 6 months, where somebody has a Rolodex of developers and people that know how to build cities. I mean, build apartments, build housing. We don't have that knowledge here, and we need that knowledge. If you had to pay $1 million for somebody who's highly qualified, the city should do it, because we need a high caliber city manager in the sixth biggest city in LA County. We need that, and I want you to consider that when you're picking who.
Thanks. Next.
No further speaker cards.
Yep.
Thank you. And it says here that there's a recruitment update, so I'm assuming that means we're going to hear maybe how many candidates have been looked at, maybe some specifics on some of them. I know we don't make, HR decisions or anything like that, and that's fine, but I would like to know something about the candidates and how many, people have been looked at, because I appreciate the extra time that's been given for this. PFC was asking for that. I'm hoping it's not just, like one other person or something, because, and no reflection on Mr. Mendez there either. I've got no problem with him, but I do want somebody that's going to do a really good job for the city of Palmdale, because there are some issues here, as you guys know, that the city manager's got to take the lead on. So I'm looking forward to the update. Thanks.
So I suppose
Can
that
I
wasn't-
just say that it's inappropriate for us to release the candidates' names because they are currently employed with other cities. So it's just letting you know that there are certain things that we're not able to publicly disclose because it would jeopardize the positions that they have now. I just wanted you to know that.
And then I suppose that was sort of my part of what the comment referred to was my point in the public participation portion of this. I think it would behoove us to have the presentation from staff before we afford the public the opportunity to comment, so they know what they're commenting on. That helps us as council members. I would imagine that it informs the public as well, so that they know what to use their 3 minutes on. If they have additional questions, would like additional information, have any comments on whatever is being presented, I think it would probably, benefit both the council and the public commenters and those watching online for the presentation to be made before public comment is received.
Okay. Any other speakers? Go ahead.
I'm just curious about how many of these are going to be single-family homes, separate and not units that are joined. I would really like to know how many houses, how many families are going to be able to move in with their kids with a backyard, have dogs and some such stuff. Or is it all going to be everybody shoved into a building? Thank you.
Okay. Let's close public comment on consent calendar. We have requests to pull item 5-4 and 5-7. Any others?
5556, please.
5-5, 5-6. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, and 5-8.
Move to approve?
Second.
Put the motion in.
Whoever wants to take it. Pressing it, but it's not, nothing's happening.
Okay, I'll put it in.
Oh, okay. I think it's okay finally. Or you put it in.
I don't know, now it's somebody sitting in your mind.
Go ahead and put the motion in.
Okay, we should be good. Don't touch your butts.
You never put it up.
No, there was a second.
The first is not in.
I motioned.
There, yeah, there is no option to do that. It's just the second.
Okay, so we have Austin Bishop. Thank you. Start voting. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, great. Can we get the staff report on 5-4?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Janelle Sampson, Director of Operations. This evening, I will be doing a brief presentation on the City Manager recruitment overview. As a confidential human resources matter, there is, as you all mentioned, limited information that can be shared at this time relating to any personal information of the candidates and such. So therefore, I will focus this presentation on the process that we have conducted so far. Oh, great. All right. So at the January 13th meeting, Council had requested that this update come back in public forum. Going back to October 7th of 2025, the Council had directed staff to conduct a nationwide recruitment search to fill the City Manager position. Later on October 21st, the City Council formally appointed 2 members of the City Council to sit on an ad hoc subcommittee, which would be, the purpose would be to guide and lead staff through this recruitment effort. Ultimately, any full decisions will be made by the full council at the point that that comes before you all. Throughout the October and November timeframe, staff has met with the subcommittee and worked through the development and approval of the job bulletin that was advertised, as well as the minimum qualifications. We did use professional standards to guide our processes. We've also comped against other positions. There are many city manager positions that are currently open throughout our state and region, so we definitely look at all of those things in developing that. Once that had been finalized, we opened the position November 24th of 2025. It was open for recruitment. It was nationally advertised through a variety of methods. They are listed here on this screen. We use a NeoGov platform, which speaks with government jobs. So anyone of the public can go onto government jobs, create an account, and apply for this position. We also publish this on the City of Palmdale website, as well as several professional organizations to target the caliber of candidates that we need for this position. So I have listed here our International City Manager Association. This is a very common organization to place these types of job bulletins on, as well as the League of California Cities and the California City Manager Foundation website. In addition to those paid advertising efforts, there are also unpaid efforts that come as a result of those. So there's members to those agencies who are then informed via company or agency newsletters, email distributions, and it can then further be shared on social media platforms such as LinkedIn or other platforms. The position closed on December 31st, so those advertisements ran that entire, just over a month from November through December. Upon closing that position, Those applications were then screened. I do have posted up here on the presentation the total number of applications that were received for the position. We received a total of 48 applications. These applications went through a 3-layer review, 2 layers within the Human Resources Division to ensure minimum qualifications were met. We looked at experience and education as well as other factors that we consider fit with the job bulletin, organizational priorities, things like that. After the HR review of 2 staff members, it then went to our subcommittee. The subcommittee was presented with both the qualifying and non-qualifying applications for review and consensus. Upon a consensus, once that consensus was reached, we have then continued our recruitment efforts, which brings us to today, where we are still going through candidate evaluations, and we do have an item on this evening's closed session for a discussion with all 5 council members.
Great. Thank you so much for that report, and I hope it sort of meets the public's needs for information. But quick, before you run away, quick question in terms of one of the points of information that I think I would like to know, and I think the public can hear, is any ideas on timeline for the process moving forward?
The timeline will be dependent on closed session discussions. I think that's a necessary next step in order to determine that.
There. Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. We, depending on closed session, procedural elements may be reported out. So if after that discussion there is something about the timeline you would like to disclose, we can make that report out of closed session.
Great, thank you. And then just, there was reference in terms of the background, and you also made reference to the ad hoc committee that was created of the 2 council members to review all of the applications. Based on our action last meeting in open session, and I think partially also in closed, the assurance is that all city council members are now going to be involved in the review of the qualifying applicants. So I just want to let everybody know that it's not just the subcommittee moving forward, that we all have access to the same information, and we're all going to be participant in the evaluation and final selection.
That is correct. All council members have been provided qualifying applications.
Yeah, Eric. I don't know that I have a question, but stand by just in case something occurs. First of all, I'd like to thank the subcommittee for the work they performed to date. However, it's been quite a lengthy process, and getting the information to all of us didn't happen until mid-January. I don't believe that the intent of the motion to create a subcommittee was ever to for the entire council to surrender the responsibility to interview all of the candidates that may qualify under the requirements. And I think we're back on track with that. And so we are where we are. But so there were 48 received, and then I guess it got culled down to 13. So I don't know that we've received the benefit of looking at the other ones that were not qualified. I think we only got the 13. Would those be available to us to look at?
They would absolutely be available based on request. The 13 applications were provided to all 5 council members. That is a typical HR process. They would go through a layers of review, and then the qualifying applicants would be passed through.
So the candidates that were disqualified because of education or lack of experience in the city manager position?
Correct. And I did break it down on the screen for you. There are 35 applicants who did not meet the minimum qualifications. Of that 35, 27 did not meet the experience requirement. 6 of those did not meet both experience and education requirements, and then there were 2 incomplete applications.
So for the record here publicly, what is the requirement for experience for the city manager or assistant city manager?
The experience requirement is 8 to 10 years of progressive, I'm going off memory, so don't quote me, progressive leadership experience, executive leadership experience, with 3 of those years being in an assistant city manager or city manager role. The education requirement, just to note that publicly as well, is a bachelor's degree is required, a master's is preferred in a field of public administration, business administration, or a related field.
Okay, thank you so much.
And Councilmember Loa, if you, I mean, I would like to see the ones that were disqualified too. And if that was a motion, I'd be happy to second it. And it doesn't have to be like printed out because it's a lot of paper. If you could just distribute it via a link to us and we can just quickly run through them. That would work for
I'll
me.
make it a motion if necessary, but.
I don't know if it's
I
necessary.
don't think it's necessary. I think we'll get the information and then we'll have a more in-depth conversation tonight in closed session, but then I think we can just direct staff to get that information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Betancourt?
I'm fine.
Mr.
All right.
Bishop?
I'll move to approve.
Move to receive and file.
I'll move to receive and file.
Receive and file.
Go ahead and make the motion. Thank you very much. One more? Thank you. Start voting. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Perfect. Can we get the staff report on 5.5? Mr. Torres.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Lee Torres, Public Works Director. Item 5.5 is an approval agreement on onward engineering for construction management services for the arterial road rehab project of Palmdale Boulevard for not to exceed amount of $267,174, which includes 15% contingency. The project includes pavement rehab, full depth reclamation along Palmdale Boulevard between 50th Street and 70th Street. City advertised the RFQ for this city construction management services back on October 9th. We received 6 proposals on November, and staff reviewed, evaluated the firms and ranked them. They did do an interview of the top 3 and found Onward Engineering to be the selection for this project. This project will be funded using SB1 funds. That concludes my presentation or a brief report. Answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your report. So the 3 items where we're awarding contract this evening, I have generally the same questions for all of them, so you can just know in advance that I'm going to ask the same for all 3. But maybe you can even address the questions now in this. So, one, on the staff report, last meeting we talked about, how important it is for there to be transparent staff reports and include as much information, but we also had a presentation on our procurement process and the varying standards of review for the different types of proposals. So an RFP versus an RFQ, all of those kinds of things. So the standard review may be responsible bidder, and then there's no flexibility in the, ranking of the proposers, and there are others that have flexibility in ranking and so on. The staff reports for these 3 items don't include what the standard is. So I think it would be helpful for us as members, but also for the public to know how, or just what the review process was, what the requirement is, because, and again, my question is for all 3 of these contracts is going to be, they're ranked and they're listed, and the proposal fees are listed, but the proposed awardee is not always the lowest bidder. So I think it'd be helpful to include where it was required to be the lowest bidder or where it was not. And so for moving forward purposes, we can hopefully include that in the staff report. And then, so I would like to have you sort of explain for this one as well as the others, why the selected recipient of this contract is not the lowest bidder, and what were sort of the main sort of factors in that determination. And then my second question is, The contingency amount, how are those determined? Because on 2 of the contract awards tonight, it's 15% contingency, on 1 it's 10. Where does the variance apply and why? Thank you.
Okay, the first question is how we evaluated the proposal. So in general, we evaluate them based on the company's qualification, the teams that proposing qualification, their technical approach that they provide in their proposal, making sure they're not cutting and pasting on RFP. They're very detailed in how they approach projects as a construction manager. And also, if there's any technical funding, whereas this Caltrans requirements, we evaluate that. They have a good understanding of the Caltrans procedures. So in general, those are what we look for in our evaluation. The evaluation sheets you receive may differ slightly, but in majority, if you group the specific questions or criteria that are used, they fall into those same categories as in general. So that's how we selected onward. We selected them, or the team selected them based on their experience. They have a lot of experience with the same similar projects in various cities, so that was a big plus for them. And then we take a look at the cost. So when we did the ranking, they made selection. This one, for example, didn't fall into the lowest bidder. Because this is qualification based, we make sure that what we selected or who we selected is within our engineering estimate, which is approximately, for construction management, it can vary between 7 to 10% of the construction cost. Why this, your second question is why this contingency is different. This one's a full depth reclamation. So when we dig out the street, there's potential to a longer duration of the project. When you have a longer duration, it triggers the effort for the construction manager to be on site and be involved a little longer than what's anticipated for the project to occur. So it's just a contingency, just in case that happens. It may not be used. So this just for this one. And why is it different from the other one? That one's, well, I guess I'll address that at the next agenda item. But this is why we chose 15%.
Perfect, thank you. And the reason why that's important is because if somebody is, so we're not selecting the lowest bidder in this instance, and in the others as well. But the contingency, if somebody is intentionally underbidding, they can use that contingency in order to inflate over time the contract and their expenses that we've awarded them under the contract, which would give them a sort of an advantage in the bidding process and undercutting some of the other proposers. So the reason, that's why I asked the two questions together, because this one, there's a bidder, bidder number 5, who is $80,000 less than what we're proposing, the contract that we're proposing to be awarded tonight for this one. But the contingency is higher on this one, so I just want to make clear to everybody why that decision was made.
Yeah, and to add to that, when we send out the RFPs, the proposers don't know our contingency. We determine that at a later stage, so they don't know if it's 10%, 15%, so they're not able to make any adjustments later on.
Thank you.
Any questions? No? Nope, okay, don't go too far, though. Can I get a motion for 5.5?
So moved.
I'll tell you what, this computer's getting on my nerves.
Do voice vote.
Yeah, the vote would be over if it wasn't for technology making our lives easier.
Start voting. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, Mr. Torres, 5.6.
Item 5.6, this one is for an approval and agreement for Maestro Development for construction management services for the Corson Park rehab project for the amount of $456,500. This includes a 10% contingency. This park, the renovation project includes improvements such as new restrooms, playground, fitness areas, landscape lighting, and other amenities that council approved back in May. This project was advertised again in Planet Bids back in August 28. We had 3 proposals for this project. Staff evaluated all of them and ranked them, as you see here. And Maestro was selected as the best fit consulting firm to do the construction management for this project. This project will be funded through Measure AB and Prop 68 Park Grant.
Thank you. So we can get to my two questions, but just
Yes.
my preliminary question. The staff report says there were 9 bidders.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Our evaluation sheet shows 9 bidders, but on the staff report, the table only includes 3 bidders.
It should only be 3.
I have, well, this score sheet, PN 851 is the right one, right? And it has 9 bidders, and then the discussion says with 9 bidders submitting
You're
formal.
correct, you're correct. We were only showing the top 3 ranked teams here, but they're total 9. I'm sorry, you're correct.
Okay, and so we didn't do just the top 3 and the other 2, right? We did all, we included in the table was all of them?
Yes, we evaluated all the 9, and these were the top 3 that's only shown here.
Right, but the other
with
2
the
items
show.
is what I'm referencing. In our staff reports, it includes all of them, not just the top 3, right?
Correct.
Okay, so for this one, I just wanted to point it out so that we can make sure moving forward that every staff report includes all of the bidders, because even though we do get this in our emails separately, I think the report that says 9 bidders and then it only shows 3 ranking sort of is a little misleading. And then it doesn't afford, unless you actually dig into, council members, unless we dig into our email and go to the special links that they send us and then print out this evaluation sheet, we don't get the benefit, and the public doesn't get the benefit of seeing what the other 6 bidders proposed.
You're absolutely correct, and my apologies for not including that in there.
No worries. Thank you. And then if you could answer why this one, because this is at least there's a bidder that's 100 and something. I mean, the proposal is 415,000. That's what we're proposing to award. But then there's another one for 580,000, another one for 620. It seems significantly underbid.
Right.
But I mean, if you could just sort of talk about why this one was selected.
So this one is just a coincidence that they were also a lower bidder, but they were the best qualified because of their past experience with recent projects, recent park projects, so they're a better fit. The staff did interview the teams that were top 3, and this team that they proposed interviewed well. They answered all the questions, and as well as a good fit for our project.
And so in terms of potential for flagging underbidding, I mean, one of the proposals that's not listed on the staff report bid almost $1 million. So if we're talking actual costs in real materials and time and per hour, cost for labor, how did we evaluate that? I just want to make sure that, and this one, the contingency is 10%, so it's lesser than the prior. Just want to make sure that we're not.
So what we look at is the hours dedicated to the project compared to the duration of the project to make sure that it's they can be there to provide the services we need for the duration of the project. The higher bidders, their rates are a lot higher. Sometimes they even have their principal engineers involved, and they bill those to the project. This one is strictly the project team that's specifically working on the project, getting their rates a lot lower than the others, so that's another factor why it's lower. But the hours spent and dedicated to the project were consistent with the duration that we perceived for this project to need.
I remember in briefings, we talked about this probably more than any other of the items when we went over this in briefing last week. And we talked about, with your experience, and I have a little bit of a construction background experience, that when you go into a project, you roughly know what it should be. And this isn't even the construction, this is just the management part of it.
Right.
So this isn't even any shovels going into the ground, but even said, with your experience in public works, you kind of have a rough idea of when you're going out to bid, roughly where the numbers should be. And I'm sure a lot of the companies we're talking about look familiar, and then some of them are a little bit more reputable than others, correct?
Correct. And this is a newer firm, so they're aggressive in their rates. So that's why we're getting a little bit more value for their time.
Right. I know, projects can be all over the place. I have experience with people who did takeoffs and construction takeoffs and estimates, and I know that estimators can be all over the map when it comes to what they think it's going to be for a project to get done. But I guess that's where we have to trust you in knowing that how much time a project's going to take and what's going to be foreseen as far as when you tear something up and you start digging up the ground, what could possibly come from that. But anyway, we talked about that in great length. But yeah, it is interesting when you see all the bids come in and they're kind of all over the place.
Right. It's definitely challenging to evaluate them, but we do take a look at their rates, the hours dedicated. And some of them, they don't dedicate enough hours. So there's a red flag there that they can't support this project for the duration we're asking for. So we have to make sure that happens, and as well as, do they have people that's not even working on the project billing for it, they're proposing for it? That's another red flag that I make sure our staff notes. So there's a lot of factors involved, but this is definitely not $1 million construction management project. This is in line with what this project is. It's about $450 to $500.
And you can roughly tell, especially when you get into the details of, like, you know, the area that we're working is this big, it's this many square feet, we're digging this far down, we're doing, you know, there's formulas in mathematics to the size of the project and the area by the footage, I would imagine, correct?
Correct. And also there's a rule of thumb that the construction industry uses for construction management. Again, 7 to 10% is what they use. This one is in line, again, with what the project cost, or using an estimate cost for this project. So we feel comfortable with selecting this team. We interviewed them, and they have the right qualification and experience, and did a similar project recently.
Okay, great.
So can I just a follow-up question based on one of your responses? You said that they're a relatively new company. So that sort of raises two additional questions in my mind. So if they're new, two things. So one, can you talk about their relevant experience? You just mentioned that they just did a recent project, so that sort of answers that. But if you could talk a little bit more in detail, but also if they're new, doesn't that also increase the potential for underbidding if they're not really familiar with sort of the work and don't have as vast of an experience in bidding?
Right. It could. A new company doesn't mean that they're not as capable as a company that's been around for 50 years. Because the team itself is far more important to me than how long that company's been together. So if it's a construction manager and inspector has 30 years, 15 years experience with similar public works project, that's valuable versus a 50-year company that's proposing a guy that only has 2 years experience. So the company experience or how long they've been in business, it does matter, but to me, it's more the team, not the company.
And then the second part of my question is, doesn't that raise the sort of the increased potential for underbidding if they're relatively new to the industry?
It can. In this case, their rates are a little lower. It's because they're a smaller company. When you have a lot more people, then the rates get higher. Bigger companies have higher hourly rates. I can't really talk about why they have that, but a younger company, a smaller company, has more competitive rates. But they're not underpaying the construction managers or inspectors. They're just not as high as the bigger companies.
Thank you for answering all the questions. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear that there were nine bidders, and the range was between $400,000 and $1 million in terms of the proposals, and there's clarity as to why this proposer was selected. So thank you.
Mr. Lau? A couple of questions to Mr. Torres. First of all, I'd like to see what efforts we're making to assure that qualified companies in Antelope Valley apply. So, and both of these projects, they're all out of the area. And I realize that sometimes there's very specific qualifications and experience that perhaps is not available here. But to the extent possible, we should be making every effort to get local companies involved. And I know that there's probably some companies that could have applied. So I don't think any applied, right, from this area.
Not from what I remember. But we do advertise in Planet Bids, so that reaches everybody. Even within Planet Bids, you have other advertisement companies like Construction or Bid America that's also subscribing to Planet Bid. So you get a wide reach of everybody. So all the firms in the Antelope Valley, majority of them should be members or subscribers through Planet Bid, so they know. When we have companies that are local, we do give them, we lean towards and give them extra points, so long as, of course, they have the qualification and the team the expertise for the team are met. So we do favor local preference, not just for construction, but also professional services.
But, we get these things routinely, every single council meeting, that we're extending these contracts to companies. And it's rare where we see locals actually participating. So maybe we need to step that area up and do more direct contacting, not just relying on Planet Bid or the other bidding platforms, and reach out and encourage our locals, because that means local employment as well. And then, for example, on this one in 5.6, it's regarding the development of this park, Corson Park, which is right here. And it's going to be a very important part of the city going forward. But this contractor has to subcontract portions of this to other companies, for example, landscaping, the planting of trees, and doing those kind of things. What do you do to make sure that perhaps this contractor will be looking to local landscape companies to do some of the planting and those kind of things?
Okay, first comment, that's a great idea for us to reach out to the engineering companies, firms in Antelope Valley. We'll do that. We'll do more outreach to let them know that we have projects here in our city. We do have, I think, 3 or 4 firms in our design on call that are local. For your second question, this is a professional services, not construction. So this is only for them overseeing the project as construction managers, not for construction. So, but to answer your question, for construction, yes, when the contractor does bid out, when it is time for us to bid out the project for construction, that company would reach out to their subcontractors, but we can't control who they subcontract out to. So that's the problem. But we do, as a prime contractor, we do lean on local preference.
No, and I understand that, but that's why I'm bringing it up now, because we see these proposals come and they just come and go, and the locals are not being involved. So I think that as a city, we need to do more to get them involved. And so this is a project that is going to be developed here soon, I hope. And it's going to involve some work that local people can do.
Yeah.
The
So-
actual work. I'm not talking about the oversight. I'm talking about the actual doing.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And another, I guess, the CWA does that or answers that, right? So a contractor, a prime contract who ends up winning this would have to go that route. Would have to go through, if they're not a union contractor, would have to hire local, because that's required of their agreement.
And this does fall under the workforce agreement we have with labor, right?
This will when we go out for construction bids, correct?
Okay.
Right, so just, that's the point that I was going to just add to the mix here. This is, so 2 things. One, this is like you said, a professional service agreement for management. There are, as I understand it, there are limited firms in the Antelope Valley that do that specified kind of work that's very different and separate and apart from the actual construction building of the actual stuff, right? Doing the landscaping, building a building, very different, two separate things. And am I correct in saying that there are limited professional management companies that are capable and experienced in the Antelope Valley to do this kind of work?
You're correct, yeah. I haven't ran into any construction management firm that's local. There is a company that I know they submitted for on-call services that's going to come up in a few months, that they are local and they do this type of service, but unfortunately they didn't propose for this project.
And these types of management agreements, really, they're a very limited number of people that are involved in them, because they require such expertise. And so the jobs, what we really want to focus on, are really in the second piece, right? In the actual building.
Correct.
And those are governed by the CWA, the Community Workforce Agreement, which mandates a local higher percentage provision. Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so I have to talk about the nuts and bolts I'm sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry. And just so you guys know, we also have different departments that do it. The operations director can speak to this, but I believe her department also reaches out whenever there are bids on, planet bids, proposals on planet bids. The purchasing part of that, arm in finance reaches out to the local vendors. They have an email list of local vendors within the city that they reach out to. It's not directly Public Works, but the purchasing department reaches out themselves.
Just keep us apprised of that. Okay.
Ms. Betancourt.
Thank you. So what I would like to talk about, first I want to say thank you for including security fencing and lighting. I hope you'll have cameras there too to protect our residents. But what's confusing to me is, to me, Corazon Park is not that big. And it looks like we're trying to put something in here for everyone. And I think it's a conflict to have a bandstand and a raised stage and also have a meditation garden next door. You see the conflict in that? I mean, how can you have both in one tiny park? I'm just bringing this up. It's beautiful, the amount of renovations you want to do and all the things you want to include for all of the public. But sometimes, even here, sometimes when we're having a council meeting, you'll hear drums and things going on at the pavilion. I couldn't imagine trying to have a therapeutic and meditation garden at Ponce de Leon Square while people are pounding on drums and playing band music, so.
We won't book them at the same time.
Well, whether you book things or not, it doesn't mean it's not gonna happen. We have people using the pavilion all the time, so I just was kind of curious as to, I just want to be cautious of trying to do all things for all people in such a small space. Maybe pick one or the other in the future, because I just don't know how that's gonna be not an issue, so I just wanted to bring that up. I'm not concerned about the bidding right now. We've covered that extensively. Oh, sure, okay.
I don't want to put Lee under the fire. He wasn't here when those meetings were held. So back in 2020, it's been some time since we designed this park. We worked with Withers and Sandgren, who also designed Rancho Vista Park. They bring a very holistic feel to their designs, as you probably are familiar with Rancho Vista. We did engage the public. It was required as a part of our funding source. I think, checking my notes, we had surveys from about 350 people, and which is excellent, especially given the pandemic conditions. We also had community meetings that we had several people attend by Zoom. So we really took a lot of the community's feedback and what they were looking for. The fitness components is really a very popular theme. The meditation garden, it's really just a little quiet nookie space with plantings that you could read a book or do a variety of things, so I wouldn't take it too literally, if that helps.
Okay, but you just see my concern though, when you promise things to all people, someone 10 years from now is going to come and go, I can never meditate in that garden because there's always people on the bandstand doing whatever they're doing. So I appreciate the public input. We have to have public input.
Absolutely.
But we also have to realize how small that park is compared to some of our other city parks.
Right.
So-
And programming, as you all know, programming is our best way to make sure that our parks are heavily used and are safe and meeting the needs of a variety of people so that they are in use throughout the day. So we are trying to meet the needs of a variety of people, but I understand your point. We don't want people on top of each other with differing uses, so we're trying to be made aware of that too.
Thank you.
On a separate note, I just want to say Corson Park has been needing a refresh for a while. When I got on the council back in 2016, Corson Pool was in shambles.
Yes.
It was empty. Nobody had used it for years. The city and the Parks Department, thankfully, was able to get the funding together. So now we have a beautiful pool. And shortly after that, we painted the benches. We did some cleanup days, replanted some grass. That's kind of kept the park going until now, but it is in need of a refresh, so
Definitely.
I appreciate.
Definitely. No, it's going to be beautiful when it's done. So thank you.
And I think that's it. I want to say, Lee, you do good under pressure. You do fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Start voting. Motion passes unanimously.
Great. Mr. Loa, we're moving on to 5-7.
Okay, I will choose myself now.
Does anybody else need a staff report, or are we ready to
I
move?
need a staff on this one too.
Okay. Okay.
This next item is for your consideration to approve a professional design services agreement for the Regional Basin Infrastructure Project. This will be presented by Jonathan Wu, Deputy Public Works Director.
Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, member of the City Council, my name is Jonathan Wu, Deputy Director for Public Works. I come before you today to ask to approve a professional service contract that for the update of the master drainage plan and the design of the drainage basin near Avenue R and Division Street for a total of $1,508,304. As you know, that area has a flooding problem, so the department issued a request for qualification back in September, and we are fortunate not to receive 3 proposals or a statement of qualification. We didn't ask for a fee proposal at that time because this is strictly a qualification-based evaluation. So we received 4 statement of qualification, and each was rated by 3 evaluators independently, and PACE was ranked unanimously as our #1 pick based on their qualification, their history, company reputation, and also their track record with the city. So after that, we opened their fee proposal, and the details is in the packet that we provide to you. With that, I'm happy to answer any question you may have.
Thank you so much. So this one is a little bit, this is very important. We just came out of the rainy season, or the heart of our rainy season. I don't know that we're out of it yet, but we've got serious drainage concerns here in the city of Palmdale and the Antelope Valley community overall. So I think this is really, really important. Can you talk a little bit about the project timeframe for the update of the master plan and maybe some moving forward, what we can look forward to?
That's an excellent question. We actually have PACE people here, and they're ready to give
All
counsel.
right, we've got PACE people. Okay, so before they do that, can we then, so there are 3 proposers, and there's $1 million differential in the proposals. One's 1.3, and there's another one for 2.3. Can we, the same sort of question applies in terms of how are we making sure that we're not getting a proposer who's significantly underbidding intentionally in order to be awarded the contract?
Excellent question. What we do is do a bid analysis. We look at the hours they propose, their hourly rate. We do a comparison in terms of hours. Some proposer propose more hours on one item, but less on the other item. So we take this at a more of a holistic approach. Typically, in our line of work, we can estimate how much the design cost will be by applying a percentage of the construction costs. So originally, my estimate is that this contract would cost anywhere between $2 to $3 million. So 1.5 is actually it's a very good proposal, and we had a 15% contingency is because this directly impact the high-speed rails future station. So we set aside additional money in case there will be some negotiation with high-speed rails. So that's why we have a 15% contingency there.
So did I hear you correctly in saying that you originally anticipated that the accurate range of costs for this work, this scope of work, it would be $2 to $3 million?
It's a rule of thumb. We apply probably 10%, and this will potentially cost about $50 million.
So the 1.3 proposal that we are being asked to award is significantly under what you thought it would be, $700,000 less at the low range, $2 million of what you thought it would be. Does that not raise concerns about, in terms of delivery of the work?
That's why we look into the hours they propose and their hourly rate and make sure they meet all our scope, because we issue our request for proposal or our request for statement qualification. We actually see how well they meet our scope and if they allocate enough hours to complete those tasks.
Okay, I'm just asking, so because the bidder 2.3 seems right in the money for what you were expecting, and that's the lowest ranked based on cost. If we get
Or
some
based on
clear,
qualifications.
overall, there are five factors, yes.
They're number one, PACE was number one on all evaluators' ranking, so it's unanimous.
Right. But can we just get some clarity on why, if your initial thought was that the range for the scope of work is between 2-3 million, that a proposer that's offering the work at 1.3, thank you.
I think their ability to bid lower is because of their experience. They actually did the first study, so they had the historical knowledge and the studies already prepared versus the other teams who would have to start from scratch.
Got it.
So I think those hours spent by studying what was performed and doing their own elevated their costs. But for PACE, they've already done some of the legwork, so.
Great, thanks for that clarification. And then if we can get some sort of feedback from PACE on the timeframe moving forward, and how when we can look forward to deliverables under the master plan?
I have the PACE's project manager then give a brief presentation for the council. Thank you.
And thank you for preparing the presentation and for being here. We really do appreciate it. I mean, we get tons of concerns about drainage in Palmdale. I know we had some recent public comment after the storms, and so I just want to make sure that we're all in the loop and the public is aware of what we're doing to address those concerns.
Absolutely. Mayor and city council people.
There's a button on there that,
The whole platform goes up.
there you go.
Thanks, Rich.
An
I'm a
experienced
project in a
user.
room without aids. So.
Keep pressing that.
So, Mayor and City Council people, I'm Andrew O'Neill. This is Jose Cruz. We're representatives of PACE. I'm the technical director. He's the Stormwater Management Division Manager. And we, intimately involved directly in the proposal for this project. We're both intimately involved and directly working on the previous study. We have a lot of experience in the area, and we can answer any questions you guys have. We can speak to specific concerns.
You want to just walk us through?
Yeah. So you all know this. I hope that the audience knows this. Palmdale has a drainage problem. Everywhere in the high desert does. Antelope Valley does. And the whole western side of Palmdale gets a lot of flooding in small storms. It's going to get a lot of flooding in the big one because it's got a big watershed. You have a lot of acres draining through it. It comes down through various culverts in the aqueduct, and it all drains out through under Highway 18 there through the project site. You get a lot of flow. The peak flow coming out of there is almost 7,000. Early this morning, Colorado River was flowing 9,000. So that kind of gives you kind of how much flow is going through there. That's why the whole left side of Palmdale is in a floodplain, according to FEMA, and in actuality, because you got a lot of drainage area. How do we get to the next one? You're good at technology. That's how FEMA views it. Right now, anybody that's in that location, if they have a mortgage, they have to pay flood insurance. In actuality, it's worse than that. That's an an effective map from 2008. That map was prepared long before that. In actuality, the flooding conditions are worse. The next one. That's kind of what it looks like. You can see the flooding that goes throughout western Palmdale. It crosses the tracks and goes over.
Just to touch on that, FEMA's analysis are usually done on a regional basis. The study that Andrew, directed with a 30% design is really specific to the area. So it's going to come out more detailed, a lot more detailed modeling. So that's why you see the biggest difference between the floodplain here and on the previous screen. Just give you some background on that.
So, during the most recent MDP update, they said, hey, we have this property at Avenue R. What can be done to solve the flooding in Palmdale? And it's actually a pretty good location for that. And we came up with a concept design and some revisions of it that's basically it's a detention basin to help, you know, to cut down on the peak flow and meter it out slowly to solve flooding in Palmdale. The flooding there that's, you know, between the railroad and the highway, that area takes all the floodplain away. It takes it all away. So it solves a problem for people that want to build a house, want to sell a house, have a mortgage, and that's just flood insurance. That's not even just flood protection. If you ever get the big one, there's going to be a lot of damage, but this will solve it. The benefits to it are manifest. I mean, you can have reduced regional flooding. You're going to have protection of downstream infrastructure. You're going to have protection of the railroad, protection of the highway. The design incorporates debris management. You know, when we talk to the O&M guys, they're always up there after, you know, a moderate storm. They're up there shoveling and scraping up stuff. We were just up there looking around Joshua Ranch Road and Anaverdi, and everything's clean, but it takes a lot of work to do that, because after I guarantee you this winter, they were up there shoveling out sand and dirt out of there, and so it'll take care of that. It increases property value, because property values go up when you don't have a floodplain. Property values definitely go up when you don't have a floodplain that you have to pay flood insurance for, and it increases public safety. In addition, there's a benefit. You can ultimately increase the community's flood protection rating. So places that are not yet protected, their flood insurance will go down because you'll get a higher community rating. So there's a lot of benefit to it. It's a huge project, but you get a lot of benefit to it. And if you want to talk about schedule, he's an expert in construction plan preparation and all that. So.
Yeah, just to answer the question related to the schedule, 36 months, I believe, is what was requested in the RFP. It sounds like a very tight timeline. Definitely agree that we have our hands full with this schedule. But we have the confidence knowing that we did the 30% analysis and design. Andrew, again, headed that effort. My role will be heading up the preparation of the construction plans. So in essence, you have sort of two project managers on this project, right, on both fronts of that. So with that and our experience in the area, we feel like, you know, we can definitely hit that target.
Actually, could I say something about the cost too? They're talking about cost, and I whispered to Jose, I said, you know, I could speak to that.
Please.
We're a small firm. I mean, we're a big small firm, but like, we're a small firm, and the stormwater division is only one small chunk of that. But we definitely hit above our weight class. We do only stormwater management. We only do projects like this. That's all we do. Like, and it's not like we have layers of people and overhead. I'm going to be working on it directly. He's going to be working on it directly. And because that's what we do, and because we're a small firm, we're just very efficient. We're efficient by expertise.
Thank you so much for your report. I know that I asked in advance that you sort of prepare something to comment on, but your presence here, one, speaks volumes to your commitment to this project and to the city. Thank you for your prior work in the first phase and for your continued work moving forward. This is a huge issue this is a quality of life issue. In addition to, you know, a financial issue for our community, this really is a quality. I mean, if you're driving, we had a public commenter whose daughter was driving their car, and because of the flood, their bumper fell off. And in my district, I had you know, kids on rafts floating down the street. I mean, it sounds ridiculous and funny, but it's really not. It's really a public safety concern.
It is.
People can die and get injured, and so this really is a matter of you know, time is of the essence. We got to get this done as soon as possible so that we can make our community safe for all on both sides. Whether you're on the west or the east side, it affects us all now because the problem has grown exponentially over time. And then with the proper drainage management, it will benefit all of our public works folks because they're out there, like you said, clearing out the storm drains and doing all this other, you know, cleanup work everywhere because the waters are rushing everywhere, you know, making a mess of our public right of way. So all around, I think this is a win-win. But I just wanted to make sure we get a lot of these public comments and complaints about the drainage after the storm stormy season. And I wanted to make sure and reassure to our listening public and the residents that we serve that we are working on it proactively. We have been working on it, and in a very short time, within the 36-month time frame, we're going to make some significant progress to that end.
I mean, it goes in line with you're building housing, you're developing. That's part of just general public beneficial improvement, so.
And to touch on public safety, I mean, it is those things, like you said, people getting stuck in their kids. You know, maintenance side, you know, you don't have to allocate resources to the maintenance there. Put it in other places that the city definitely can benefit from.
Go put it in Pearland watershed.
Yeah, and then public safety and emergency response, right? Streets are flooded, if an ambulance can't get there, fire department, all that stuff, whatever you need, right? This is gonna relieve a lot of that stress.
Yep.
There we go. I was gonna say, our city needs this, and I saw firsthand last Friday, I had to go to League of Cities meeting in Adelanto, California, and we took Palmdale Boulevard all the way out. I was shocked at the amount of buried cars. The floods had come through some of these low points and literally wiped out probably 10 cars, and they're still sitting halfway in the mud, buried in the mud, and I'm thinking those were families in those cars. Those may have been fatal, and it's a tragedy. I think those are county areas, so we can't control them. Yeah, ambulances, like you said, couldn't get through that area. And the thing is, it's so strange because it's not raining, but yet there's still water coming through because I think it's coming down off the mountains or higher elevations, but there's still flooding. It's still coming through. I could see where they've tried to mitigate, you know, by digging out a lot of the dirt and letting, you know, more flow go through. But it was shocking to see how many cars were buried. It really was. So this is a huge priority for us. So thank you.
It's one step for improvement for the entire city, for sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Bishop?
Yeah, I want to thank staff for bringing this forward. Thank you for being here. This is in District 1. Yes, we do have, since it's on a hillside, we do have water flow issues. It's been a big issue to the effect. Can you go back a couple slides?
Yep.
How far?
One more. There we go. Okay, so it's actually not. It is a public safety issue. It is getting worse, but it's coming to it's a point where, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this when they drive down the 14. It's to the point where we can't develop along the 14 freeway. It's got drainage issues. So if anyone's wondering why that land has remained untouched for so many years, and for those of you who know, freeway real estate is the most valuable real estate you could possibly come across, especially for retail, commercial, jobs. It's some of the most valuable real estate, and Palmdale has a ton of it, but we haven't been able to do anything because of all this drainage. And so I appreciate this project coming forward. I wish we were at the point where we were awarding the construction part of it, but we will get there. I understand it's a mathematical formula. Even during the briefing, we're trying to calc out how many transfer trucks of dirt it would take to dig the 15 feet down versus the water. It's a what?
It's a lot of dirt, for sure.
Do you have an idea how many transfer trucks?
Oh, my Lord.
We did. I
We
don't remember
did.
offhand.
You did?
We did a calc as far as, volume and material.
Yeah.
And we got truck pass, how many trucks per day. It was.
It's a lot. I was trying to figure it out, but anyway, it's a much needed project. It not only increases the safety of flooding, but it also makes the real estate, to your point, more valuable. And also, once the drainage is fixed, we're going to be able to most likely develop along the 14 freeway, which brings jobs, which brings tax revenue, and everything, all good things. Because if you drive through most communities, their freeway real estate is completely built out. There's usually not a scrap of commercial real estate when it backs up to or next to a freeway. But Palmdale, we have a ton of it. Haven't been able to use it because there's drainage issues. But we're on our way to fix.
Part of modern Palmdale.
Yeah, it's in the center of the city, and it's been a passion of mine. It's in District 1, and I would really like to see that get built out. But because of these water issues, it's been hindering us on our growth. So thank you for being here. Looking forward to this project coming forward after your work is done, so we can award a construction contract so we can get that thing going.
Yeah.
Thanks again to all involved in the project. If there's no further council discussion, happy to move the item.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Mr. Torres, Mr. Wu, thank you.
Start voting. Motion passes.
And we're going to be watching that 15% contingency.
Okay, Mr. Loa? Welcome back. No, she's running real quick. I just want to get through this. You need me?
No, I just
Okay.
whenever you run into the hallway.
We're now moving on to item 6, public hearing. In accordance with Assembly Bill 2561, we'll get a staff report on our fiscal year 2025-26 annual employee vacancy report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item before you this evening is a public hearing to accept public testimony and then to receive and file the fiscal year 2025-26 annual employee vacancy report in accordance with Assembly Bill 2561. This Assembly Bill was just passed and took effect in January of 2025. This is the first report that staff have brought forward to the City Council for approval. And what it requires is that we address the status of vacancies and recruitment efforts in the city. If vacancies meet or exceed 20%, this applies specifically to bargaining units, 20% of the total number of authorized positions, there are additional reporting requirements that are triggered, including us to report the total number of vacancies within a bargaining unit, the total number of applicants for vacant positions within the bargaining unit, average number of days that it takes to fill those positions. So in our case, we have looked at our vacancies as of January of 2026 for both the city overall as well as our one bargaining unit. We have an overall vacancy rate of 8.81 citywide. Our bargaining unit vacancy rate as of January was 11.11%. We are well below the 20% that triggers additional reporting requirements, so we don't have those details to report to you today. I do want to note that the city has 318 full-time authorized positions. Of those, there are 99 bargaining unit positions. As far as vacancies are concerned, the overall city, as of January, had 28 vacant full-time positions. The bargaining unit had 11 of those. That concludes my report. I am happy to answer any questions.
Should we call for public
Can I ask a
testimony
couple
before we do
questions
questions?
so that you
Okay.
can sort of fully flesh
Yeah.
through. Thank you for your report. It's really helpful and responsive to the new legislation that was enacted. Couple questions about, I think the purpose of the legislation was to create transparency in terms of the vacancies available so that we can sort of, the community and those interested in jobs can find them and know about them. What are we doing to publicize the vacancies? I noted that there's no list attached to the staff report of the actual vacancies. I think that would be helpful. It would have been helpful for this, but if it's somewhere on the website or where, can we direct people where they can find exactly all of the vacancy information?
Absolutely. The reason it's not in your staff report today is because our vacancies are constantly changing. Our human resources department is constantly recruiting new positions. We also have a fair amount of turnover, retirements, promotional opportunities and such. So those positions, if we would have published them here today, may not have been relevant otherwise. So we do direct the public or interested applicants to the city's website. We do have a careers page that is posted there. We use our NeoGov platform and publish all of those. We also utilize our communications department to further market our open positions via social media platforms or other advertising methods.
Thank you. And then, so the report notes that there are 28 vacancies citywide? as of January 2026, right? And then it says there are 4 that are in active recruitment, 12 that have closed and they're in the selection phase, 4 that have been selected and are scheduled to begin employment. That's 20. What happened to the other 8? Where are the other 8? It's the recruitment activity, page 2 of the staff report. If we don't have it offhand right now, we can just sort of send me an email and get back to me. I just was wondering if there's a reason why those 8 were sort of not referenced here.
I do not have that information on hand, but I will get that back to you.
Great. Thank you.
My mic. So I just want to say that I understand why our residents would want to have this information, that we need to be transparent with our residents and employers and national recruitments. I just want to publicly say that I think it's a huge overreach for Gavin Newsom to say, we want to know what your vacancy rate is at your local cities. And I would really like to know what his ulterior motive is for this. So I guess eventually I'll find out. That's all.
I mean, I can venture to I can suggest what my intention would be if I were to enact a law like this. I can't speak for the governor, of course, but we want to reduce unemployment rates, so we want to highlight the vacancies that are available in municipal government. He can't request or require vacancy rates to be, of private corporations to be published, but of governmental entities, he can. He has the power to do so, and so I think it's an effort in order to reduce our unemployment rate, to make sure that people know what jobs are available in their local communities.
Well, if he wants to reduce our unemployment rate, he can give us some money to advertise. He can give us some money for training, education. There's a lot of things he could do if he wants to reduce the unemployment rate. I just think this is just a huge overstep from the governor's office. That's my personal opinion.
Okay. All right, let's call for public testimony.
We have Jason Zink.
It'd be nice to see the vacancies, where they're at, which departments those vacancies are. I have a real concern with what's going on in Palmdale. I see a lot of things that aren't being taken care of urgently, like right away. Like Avenue R, there's still mud on the sidewalk and on the street. And the flood was, the holiday storms were what, 3 weeks ago? Maybe even longer. So why wasn't that cleaned up? Why wasn't a sweeper truck over there, you know? I don't understand what's going on. There's just so much. Like 6 months, I've been pushing for all the vacant, missing street signs and faded street signs to be replaced. Money is not the problem. We have the high sales tax rate in the state, right? So money is not the problem. Is it management? Is it a lack of not having enough people working for the city? Is it not having contractors, a list of contractors? I don't know why the city can't have a breakfast meeting and have all the sales managers from all the companies and owners come to have a meeting over at some, hotel or something like that, a convention. Why can't we do that? And say, why aren't you guys bidding on our projects? Now, I know Palmdale has a bad reputation compared to Lancaster and other cities. So that might be it. So you might want to hire a company that surveys these, all these people that do business with the city and get some feedback. Why do they have a bad reputation with Palmdale? Because I hear it all the time, and I'm sure you guys do too. But it'd be nice to have a company go out there, survey these businesses, and find out what's going on. The other thing is, I just seen on Facebook your post with Governor Newsom, and that's good. But when you were with him, did you tell him Antelope Valley needs its own state workforce development board? Did you tell him Antelope Valley needs its own regional economic development area, and set up a meeting with D.D. Mears from GoBiz office so we get direct funding and part of the $600 million that all the other regions get? That's the opportunity right there that you could have set up a meeting to say, we need this. We are the super commuter capital of America. We have more commuters than any other place in the United States.
I did mention that to him, yes.
So you will be going up there to Sacramento and meeting with D.D. Mears and lobbying for our own regional economic district and our own workforce development board for Antelope Valley. Yes?
We're doing the best we can. We're going to
I
make
see
the
years
contacts we
going
can.
by. This anti-Verde project, flood control project, 10 years. Why wasn't this should have been your project of passion.
Thank you.
Austin Bishop.
Thanks.
No further speaker cards on this section.
Okay, we're going to close the public hearing, and we will entertain a motion to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Start voting. Motion passes unanimously.
I received a couple requests to take a 5-minute break. Sorry, I probably should have done that before when you had to go, so I apologize for that, but let's take 5. Okay, everyone, we're back. Hey, it works. It's my first time using that.
I'm gonna give you one of the squeezy ones.
Yeah, I'm taking this everywhere I go. All right. We're moving on to item 7, correct? City manager report.
Is at the trucks. It is Wednesdays every Wednesday at 4 p.m. we'll have food trucks at the Palmdale Auto Mall. So we have a variety of different trucks. Come join us out there. You got some good eats out there, some macaroni, some good sloppy food. So join us out there. Valentine's Day dance is Friday, February 6th from 5 to 7:30 at Marie Kerr Recreation Center. This is for ages 5 through 12. So join us, if you have youngsters out there, join us for, well, bring your youngsters for the dance, ages 5 through 12 at Marie Kerr Park. Also celebrate Black History Month with Tap Into Soul featuring Shalom J, Saturday, February 7th at the Palmdale Playhouse. The performance blends powerful multi-octave vocals with world-class tap dancing. On Friday, February 9th, Cupid in the Park. So we'll have an event Friday, February 9th through February 14th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Dominic Masari Park, Marie Kerr Park, and Sam Yellen Park. Residents are invited to enjoy 6 days of free, heartwarming activities featuring creativity, fun, and sweet memories for all ages. Also, on Saturday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, we have Valentine's Day with Always Adele at the Palmdale Playhouse, a breathtaking candlelight concert honoring the music of pop icon Adele. And that's it. You guys can log on to our website for more events. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, non-agenda public comments.
We have Eugene Hernandez.
I would like to ask the city council that you pass a resolution that ICE is not welcome here in Palmdale. As you have seen in the news, a young lady who has 3 kids was shot and killed by ICE in Minnesota. And her last words were, she said, "I have nothing against you guys," and yet she was shot through the face by an ICE agent. A young man, a white man, these are both white people, was a nurse who was giving his life to helping people. He was shot 10 times by ICE in Minnesota. The reason why ICE officers are so brutal and so murderous is because they've been trained by the IDF, the Israeli police. And the way they're treating people in Minnesota is the way IDF in Palestine treat the Palestinians. I would like the city council here to come out with a resolution not welcoming ICE here. 238,000 Latinos live in this city. They shouldn't be in danger of being deported unfairly. On another point, you had 2 items presented for Black History Month. And while I support that, is when are you going to honor us Latinos? Are we just a forgotten race that you don't have to honor us? You have the birthday of Cesar Chavez coming up in March. You should declare a city holiday. You should have an event at the Palmdale Playhouse honoring the life of Cesar Chavez. Dolores Huerta is still alive. The Farm Worker Union is still alive. This is time that you should honor us as Latinos. We're not a forgotten race. It's not just blacks that should be honored. It's us as Latinos. My heritage, the Southwest, should be taught in our schools. I had a conversation with the high school students who walked out 4 days ago from high school against the ICE raids. And their heritage should be honored by the city. The history of the Southwest should be taught in our public schools in Palmdale, not forgotten. Just as Black history is honored, our history is honored. There's books, Occupied America by Dr. Rudy Acuna. There's the other books honoring our history, and they should be promoted, not hidden away. So I ask you, take a stand against ICE, because ICE is destructive to our people's heritage, and they should not live in fear of a police state. Thank you very much.
Debjit Sakar.
Mayor Olson, council members, thank you for allowing us to speak. I'm here with, my name is Debjit Sarkar. I'm an emergency physician and a combat veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. And I'm here with Sergeant John Allen's widow, Aspen Allen. John was a close friend of mine, a medic, and a remarkable human being. And we've prepared a proposal we're going to submit to the city clerk to give to you all to read if you have a minute, to try to do what a lot of hometowns back where I live and where I grew up in the Northeast have done for their hometown heroes, which is either renaming a bridge or street or something as simple as John grew up about 10 minutes from here, and we just visited his house, and maybe some type of street sign there would be wonderful. If we could honor John, I think myself and the members of my unit would be just speechless and just very thankful because he was that kind of human being. I've outlined a lot more here. I'm not going to use my full time. Aspen has written a beautiful note here for each of you. I hope you'll take a minute to read that as well. Just a very heartfelt, and it's my first time meeting her after about 20 years of trying to make this meeting happen. And I'm sorry in advance for all the emails I sent to you guys, but this is my first trip to Palmdale, and we loved John very, very much. And he was a wonderful representation of your town and our country, and we want to do whatever we can to honor him. Thank you.
Yeah, I will say that I've received your emails. We've forwarded it to staff. We're looking at ways to do that. And I also had conversations with the high school district as well, because I want to do this for every veteran or every service member that came out of our community. I think they all should be honored in any way, in every way possible. We are a proud defense community, and I think the entire council joins me in wanting to honor that commitment and sacrifice. So we will look into it, and we will continue the conversation with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you very
tireless
much.
advocacy. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We have David Jester.
Where do I start? How you doing, Mrs. Alarcon, Mr. Bishop, Mr. Olson, Betancourt, and Loa? I appreciate you listening to me and what I have to say today. I agree with the gentleman who came up with the deal to honor someone. If you want ideas, Reagan Library is sitting right up there, has some beautiful stuff for veterans. I don't have a problem with that. I kind of disagree with, what is his name? Mr. Hernandez on the ICE deal, of course. You leave ICE alone, you don't have anything to worry about. I do agree that we should have a Latino month. Let's have a Celtic month. let's have an American Indian month. Let's go all out with this thing. We have 6 or 7 months in the same month. You understand where I'm going with that? Here a while back, you guys gave some of your money to a group called AV Edge, 300,000, I believe it was. Wait, hold on just a minute. No, it wasn't your money you gave to AV Edge. It was the taxpayers' money. You raised the taxes up to 11.25, and then you turn around and give it away to somebody. Nobody knows what they do. I went and looked at their paperwork. I have a friend of mine who's a forensic accountant. I'm gonna have him look at it. Because to be quite honest with you, I'm tired of people cheating the people of the United States. Up there with Mr. Wells and here in California. They showed a map of all the fraud that they've found just in LA County. It's horrendous. Mrs. Alarcon, I was very proud of you. You asked them, hey, what about this? How many people we get on the seat? What do you do for it? Right up to that point, you fell on it. Because without getting any of the information, you guys voted to give $300,000 to a group that, for all I know, may get really good trips to Vegas. And I would appreciate it if you guys would do a little more toward vetting stuff before you vote for it. Not wait until after the feds come and try to arrest someone for it. Should never be. I thank you very much for your time. All we want to know is where's the money.
Roger Soderstadt?
So I got to follow all these impassioned pleas? Man. Well, esteemed mayor and city council, although I believe I'm quite infamous already, I'll introduce myself. I'm Roger Soderstadt, also known as Roger the Radical. By some, anyway. Oh, actually by me, but. Anyway, so we're spending $1 billion to make the Cimboli Center look like Bellagio, right? We're spending who knows how much money to make Corson Park look like Disneyland. But yet Arnie Quinones Park doesn't even have a picnic table. So I think our priorities are, let's say, not the best they could be. I think we could do better. Now, I'm not going to ask for restrooms and drinking fountains and stuff like that. I know that would be pushing it. But a picnic table, I think that's a reasonable request. And thank you for your time. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot one more thing. The 3-minute rule. Now, back when there was a 2-minute limit on comments, I thought these proceedings were already long and tedious enough, but now extending it to 3 minutes, how much better can it be? Okay, thanks a lot.
We have Jason Zink.
Where's the money? We gave $5 million to AV Mall Round 1 for an amusement attraction, right? What did we give to Urban Air? Nothing. What did we give to Bowlerio over there, the old Brunswick bowling alley? It's been here for, 30 years, employed people. What did you give them? Why are we picking winners and losers? Why are we giving $5 million of our money away? Doesn't make any sense, does it? No, it doesn't. There's a conflict of interest. Richard Loa and Austin Bishop had a conflict of interest in picking their districts. They stacked the deck, in my opinion. They threw out 6 months of hard work from a citizens districting committee so that they could have their own district seats. That's against the law. So, are you going to be part of the biggest scandal in Palmdale City history and allow it to continue? Eric Olson, Andrea, this is a good time to get Richard Loa back. I'd get him. Our 250th anniversary, no committee for citizens to get involved in to help celebrate our country. We need 6,640 units, housing units, by 2029. In 2024, we had 155 built, and in 25, 175. And in 26, we have an estimated 500. That's 820 units. That's 5,820 units we need built in the next 2 years, right? In 28 and 29. We need a city manager that knows how to build housing units. I know how to do it. I have some pretty good ideas. But you guys just sit there. You never ask for any public input. You never have any committees, workshop things, or anything like that. You just sit like everything's hunky-dory. But it isn't. You guys have given $20 million in frivolous lawsuits to people that didn't even break a nail. Bishop, you need to retire. Or Bishop Loa, you need to retire. Bishop, you need to retire. Laura Betancourt, you need to retire. We need new elections. We've asked you time and time again, and you promised, Andrea, we said you didn't have time to put it on the November ballot. Here's June ballot. We want new elections. We want our mayor elected at large back. These guys can retire and do the right thing and try to get their name back. And then we'll have new elections in 4 districts and higher demographer. So you can always, data is very important, right? So hire one, and let's get started with new elections. Thank you.
No further speaker cards.
Yeah, and then Felix will speak after you.
Yeah, thank you. On behalf of the Palmdale Freedom Coalition, so first of all, I want to say thank you for the times when, and Andrea, and you've done it a lot, but it hasn't been limited to just you, when you guys actually ask in-depth questions so that we, the public, can understand what money is being spent on. The fiduciary responsibility of this council is enormous, and it's nice when it's lived up to. I really do appreciate that. Along those lines, we had $100,000 that went to a creation of a logo that, as I recall, the council rightly rejected. Don't know where that money went. Don't know if there's another logo that's been proposed. Have no idea, okay? $10 million over to Lancaster for an event center. I've been asking for 2 years or thereabouts, what is the expected return on the investment for the people of Palmdale? I have yet to get a straight answer, which, I'm sorry, that's just absurd. How do you ask for that much money and you don't have that information ready to give to the people, the taxpayers? Likewise, the money that we've given over the last several years to AV Edge. Now I know, and again, Andrea grilled Drew Mercy in here, and as I recall, we were promised that he would come and give a presentation. I don't think that's happened yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he gave out some flash drives to you folks and maybe the city staff. I haven't seen it. I'd like to know, it's a common theme apparently, because the people at PFC are asking me, where's the money? Where's the money going? Now we know where, more specifically, what are we getting for the money? And you guys, you got to understand, you know, something like that happens one time, okay, maybe it's a mistake. You know, Rhonda Perez spent $100,000 on of taxpayer money. She shouldn't have spent it with a company up in Portland. There's better ways to do it. You could have had an art contest, $10,000 scholarship to the winner. Some kid would have benefited greatly. We would have had a logo by now. Okay, didn't happen. But then I was told, well, that wasn't our fault. That was Rhonda Perez. But you guys are the ones that passed the ordinance giving her carte blanche to spend up to $250,000 without any oversight. I would like to see that ordinance amended so that that can only be done actually at a lower amount and only in cases of an absolute emergency, because what she did was ridiculous. And you guys, you know, fair or not, you're the one sitting up there. It comes back on you. You got to be embarrassed by that. Because most of the people out here, unfortunately, don't know what's really going on in the city. All they know is we spent $100,000 on something, we got nothing in return. $10 million to Lancaster, we get nothing in return. At least $700,000 over the last few years to AV Edge. We have no idea as citizens what we're getting for that. Why is that the case? And last, Eric, you said one of your top priorities was affordability. I'd like to see this council start to try and repeal the obscene sales tax that we have. The people here can't afford it. We have the highest gas prices in the nation. Now we have the highest sales tax in the nation. We're a commuter city. That's bad math any way you look at it. So if you're a man of your word, do something about that. Thank you.
We're looking at it.
Appreciate it.
Felix?
I'll attempt to translate.
Buenas noches. Bueno, primero agradecerles que está en la agenda este tema tan importante para nuestra comunidad.
First, I want to say thank you for having this on the agenda for
Excuse
our
me one
community.
second. If it's translated.
Is there one?
We have translate.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put
Okay.
6 minutes on.
Okay. Como todos han visto, el tema migratorio ahorita en todo Estados Unidos está afectando mucho la economía, la comunidad latina, y muchos de los trabajadores latinos están dejando de ir a trabajar al campo. Eso significa efectos en nuestra ciudad. Muchos negocios latinos están cerrando en la ciudad. Y aunque no lo quieran reconocer, es el estrago del efecto del tema migratorio. Es por eso de que yo quiero agradecerles. Sé que esta resolución va a pasar porque todos ustedes son padres de familia, abuelos, tíos, y creo de que por humanidad es momento de darle un poquito de alivio a la comunidad latina. Así de que espero tener el apoyo de ustedes, como siempre lo han hecho en algunas ocasiones, para representar a la comunidad sin importar de dónde vienen, qué idioma hablan o de dónde son. Así de que gracias, voy a estar pendiente.
All right. I thought about the last 2 weeks what I would talk about today, but a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks, nationwide, statewide, and in LA County. So what is the right thing to say when you live in a community where it's predominantly Latino? The very same people who are being attacked regardless of their immigration status. Some of them were citizens. Many of them were not criminals, as the clown upstairs said he was going to get. So what do I say to the beloved city of Palmdale, who to this date that I live in, I'm proud of living in, has not played or stated a position on this? Some would argue that if we talk about it, we may bring him over here. But isn't that also fear? We're playing into the national fear? So I say, no matter what side of the fence you're on, protect the people that strive the economy. We dominate in home ownership. We own many businesses. We pay those taxes. So let's give back to the people that thrive this community. Let's say something that we, the city of Palmdale, do not agree with the rhetoric, with the fear-mongering on our brothers and sisters of color, regardless of their immigration status. That's the least we can do. And as a taxpayer, that's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Okay, let's close non-agenda public comment. And we're moving on to item 9, council reports, announcements, and requests for future agenda items. I'll start this way again.
Thank you. A couple quick requests for future agenda items. One is the council meeting dates. We recently, a couple months ago, changed our council meetings from Wednesdays to Tuesdays, and as I understood it then, the rationale for that was because we've got so many conferences that typically start on Wednesdays, and so we want to move our council meetings to Tuesdays so that we can, the council members can be afforded the opportunity to go without disrupting the council meetings. However, as of late, our council meetings have just been canceled, even though we have moved the council meetings to Tuesday. I just got a request because of the Monday holidays that are gonna, come very, very soon, including, Cesar Chavez Day and some others, that we move our council meetings on those weeks from Tuesday to Wednesday to accommodate briefings and whatnot. I would just like an item to come back to the council so that we can, once and for all, I think when we move meeting dates, sort of, sort of haphazardly throughout the year. It's confusing for our public, and it sort of discourages public participation. And I think our goal is really to encourage as much public participation in our legislative process as possible. So if we could just have an item added to a future agenda, an action item, to sort of discuss why and when and what, when the council meeting dates were moved, why, and moving forward, how we're going to handle that. Maybe we move them back to Wednesday so that we don't have to keep, moving meetings haphazardly, as Monday holidays, come forward. So do we need a second for that, to have it come back?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Do we need a vote?
I'll say aye.
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 Opposed? Aye.
It's just to bring a conversation.
It's just
I
so
know,
that
but-
we can be clear to the public when we're having meetings.
But we did this very recently, and there was public surveys that went out, there were staff surveys. We went through a whole process to get here to Tuesdays. I don't have the appetite to go through that process again.
Okay, well, we've got 3 yes votes, but we also, the request is to move the next council date from Tuesday to Wednesday, and also other holidays. We needed clarity for the public. I'm unclear on what the policy.
I've been on the council for a while, like Jason Zinka said. I've had them, I think, on Mondays, on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, on Thursdays. I'm totally good doing them on Saturdays, because then more people could come, because they wouldn't be working.
I'm happy to do
So-
them any day. I just think there needs to be consistency so the public knows.
I agree with you completely, so I'm open to a conversation.
Mayor and members of City Council, for clarification, we reached out to council to request the movement of just one of those days. This next meeting falls directly after a holiday. We wanted to give staff and the council and the public the ability to review the agenda before we had a meeting, that it didn't fall right after a holiday. We wanted to accommodate the public. So that's why the request was made to move it from a Tuesday immediately following the President's Day holiday to the Wednesday. And that was for transparency issues. Should the council wish to move that back, we can accommodate that as well.
Thank you. I'd say, so we voted, I think we have a 3-2 vote to bring it back for discussion.
You were yea or nay?
I said yes.
Okay, so
To bring it
there's-
back for discussion?
So there's 3 yeses.
Whatever the issue was, yeah.
Sure, okay.
A couple of other things. I've asked several times for, sort of in response to a lot of the public comment, for a special events list, an annual special events list. I've been promised it several times. I'd like a special event, and I think we should present it to the public, a list of all of the special events that we, the city of Palmdale, support, fund. I mean, because we do support, certain holidays and certain community events, and there are fiscal impacts to each of those, and I'd like to see citywide. How much money do we spend for Cesar Chavez Day? How much money do we spend on whatever? I mean, there's probably 50 different holidays and special events that we support citywide. There are probably more. But I'd like to see sort of an annual overview on what we spend that money on. I know it falls under city managers' unilateral ability to contract and to issue that financial support. But I think it's important that we as a council know how much money is being spent on various holidays so that we can ensure that there's equity in the public. We're transparent with the public on where we're spending the taxpayer dollars with regards to special events. The logo update, I think we should have I haven't gotten a report back on the logo update. I don't know if everybody else has. But I think that there's some credit there, and so if we can have that as a future agenda item as well. The AV Edge presentation, he did come, Mr. Mercy did come and give us USB drives. At that time, I specifically asked, said, well, what's on this drive? Would love for you to present it to the public. He said, oh, happy to do that moving forward, but we still haven't agendized that, so if we can get that on a future agenda, that'd be great. We already voted on that one, and he agreed to do it, so I don't know that we need to take another vote on that. And then if you could just state for the record, the cap on the city manager's unilateral ability to contract, just what the number is, the actual number is.
Mayor, members of City Council, that number is 125,000.
125,000.
That is
I just want to clarify for the record. Thank you.
So I just want to say that when I first came on the council, I think the cap was $50,000. If it was over 50, they had to come to the council and let us know how that money was being spent. So I just wanted to say that as projects became more expensive, it became a kind of a time delay and a burden for it to come to council and then wait and wait and wait for these projects to get approved. That's why they incrementally had increased the amount of money. So that was just an FYI.
Yeah, and I think
FYI.
the 250 reference was specifically for special events, entertainment during the summer concert series, because those Neil Diamond impersonators are expensive. Mr. Lava?
Yeah, now that we have the information on all the candidates for the city manager, I think we should schedule a meeting so that we can have interviews with all of the council, with the applicants.
We can talk in closed session.
Well, I'm asking out here so the community knows that we are going to follow up and have a public meeting. That it won't be a public meeting, but it'll be a closed session meeting to interview.
To allow for the
or all
full
of the
council,
applicants.
to allow for the full council to interview.
Yes, of course.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So if that's a motion, I'll happily second it in public forum, but we can take the action in closed session as well.
So we're going to do both public and closed session on the same?
No.
I'm just saying that I
We're just going to, all I'm asking for is that we have schedule a meeting so that and we've done this in the past when we select city attorney and other persons, so that we can interview the candidates, and then we can make a decision on who the city manager will be. And so I'll make it a motion if necessary, but I think we should schedule a meeting soon.
And I'll reinstate my second if that is in fact a motion.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oppose? Aye.
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 I want to get the information in closed session tonight, because I think that that's going to inform that decision. So I'll reconsider my vote
I'll try to
based
be
off
as
of closed
careful as
session.
possible about this, but I thought this is one of the items that was talked about the last closed session, and then apparently staff members derailed what we had intended to do. So,
This item was not on closed session last meeting. It was not on the agenda.
So I think we should just continue with the original plan with the subcommittee. The council back, I believe in October, voted unanimously for us to move forward with the subcommittee. I'm open to have that discussion shortly. When we go into closed session, we can decide what we're going to do from there.
Okay, I want to hear what is agendized for closed session. I want that information before I make any decisions. You good? Anything else?
no, let's go.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to jump in there. Did you want to go first, Austin? I'm sorry. My
I
apologies.
submitted my report in the name and time. I just want to say thank you, staff. Thank you, City of Palmdale, for giving me the privilege to serve the community. Palmdale is a very special place. I don't take my service to the community lightly. I know there's running a city is not an easy thing to do. Things are never going to be perfect. There's always going to be problems, but it's how we overcome them, it's how we solve them, and how we work with our community to get to a better place. A lot of people want to talk about the problems and what's wrong, but with my service to the city, I always want to focus on what's right and what we can do to take the next step forward to progress and make things better for everyone. So thank you.
Well, it's been a busy, busy time. I went to the Martin Luther King, the first annual festival that we had at Ponce Lawn Park, and that's going to be an annual festival that they have. I also attended the Martin Luther King play at the Palmdale Playhouse, and I was so excited to learn, because I didn't know it before I got there, that it was a play based on the life of Reverend Henry Hearns. And all of the firsts that he had accomplished, the first black male civil engineer for soil evaluations. He was the first black mayor of Lancaster. He did a lot of firsts. And it talked about his life and his struggle from, his time to now. And I was so blessed to be able to present him with a proclamation acknowledging his legacy and the things that he's accomplished. and that, you know, he is one of our legendary Antelope Valley people, and I hope that we have people that will follow behind him, because he's 92 years old, and he's still serving his communities and his churches. It's a pretty amazing thing. As far as future agenda items, I think, Mr. City Manager, I emailed you some information on possibly doing a rose parade. I'd like to look into that. I like the idea of having a committee for the 250 celebration. We have to do this right. We're not gonna get another chance, not in my lifetime. I'm, you know, never gonna happen for me. This is it for me. I wanna see Palmdale be the biggest supporter of American pride. And I hope that we are gonna dedicate the time, energy, and money, and personnel, and staff, and volunteers, whoever wants to participate, in making Palmdale Celebration the greatest in America for this. It's a big, big deal to me. I will also like, if I can ask for an update on the logo, because the logo, we've got to come up with a logo, because that's what's holding back our redoing the street signs. Because we don't want to put out new street signs and then take them back down and redo them with the new logo. So once we have the new logo, we can put up all the new street signs, and that kind of solves some of the problems that we've been having, because some of them are very, very hard to read. So I'd like to ask if we can have an update on the logo next meeting. And I do have some other things that I attended, but I didn't bring my notes. I do want to, next meeting, I'll talk about the legislative changes. I went to the Desert Mountain Division meeting of the California League of Cities and learned a lot about what was going on in Sacramento, and I'll bring that information to you at the next meeting. It's not a pretty picture. The League of Cities is working diligently to try and change our legislators' minds on some things. So we'll talk about that at the next meeting. I just don't have my notes with me, so I apologize for that. And that's all I have.
Okay, did you go? Yeah. Oh, got it. Okay, yeah, my report, I think, is filed. I don't know. It's been a busy month.
It has been.
I've been to Sacramento twice, a lot of great meetings that I will share as soon as we figure out exactly what's going to be tangible. I did get a moment with the governor today. I honestly believe that great things are about to happen to this city. But we'll talk about that more in detail, because those are bigger conversations to be had. So other than that, we'll move on to number 10, City Attorney Report.
Okay, so before we jump in there, just kind of point of order. So when I requested this come back, I made a motion previously with regard to ICE and our city adopting a resolution. The city attorney brought back a draft resolution. Last week, or last council meeting, when we voted to bring this back as an item, it was to include my motion. There are two references to it in our minutes. It says she requested a follow-up on the motion made at a previous meeting regarding ICE and the Sheriff's Department. That's one reference. The motion specifically says discuss her motion from a past meeting related to ICE. Yet on the agenda, there's no reference to my motion. On the staff report and background, there's no reference to my motion. And there is no, I don't know that there is a means by which to take an action on that motion, since it's not properly agendized. And so that's one point, and so I'd like to know why and how that happened. Two, it's agendized as a city attorney's report. There's no means by which the public is, at least in our public comment information, afforded the opportunity to specifically comment on item number 10. So the public comment information references 3 minutes for the consent, public hearings, appointments, new business, and closed session items, but nothing with regard to the city attorney's report. I noted there are some public commenters who spoke sort of in reference to this item, but that was on non-agenda public comments, and we really aren't publicly, there is no notation. So some of them say, some of these items, like on new business, it says, now is the time for public participation. On the city attorney's report, there is no such reference. So I think there's just not clarity on the public's ability to comment specifically on this item. I'm disappointed that my motion is not referenced on the agenda, and it's not incorporated or included in any of the narratives in the report that was presented and is publicly posted. And so I would like some response to all of that, but also some direction on how we can or cannot move forward in reviewing my motion. Time is of the essence on this issue, as I said last time, and we voted, and I believe, and I don't want to speak for you, Councilmember Bishop, but I believe the reason why you abstained was because you were opposed to the action item itself. You were okay with the report back, but you didn't want to do that. Is that an accurate reflection? I don't know, maybe not. But in any case, I was very specific about including my motion and the proposed resolution in this item. And I think the hope and the expectation of the public in light of that conversation was that that was going to be brought back, yet it's not here at all. So I'd like a response to that, but also some sort of clarity on public participation, because it's not noted anywhere on our agenda that anybody can comment on city attorney's report items.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. To address Council Member Alarcon's question about the motion that was made, I myself, as well as the city clerks, went back and re-watched the video, and if you recall, there was a lot of back and forth. Basically, after our review, we pulled the closed caption, and it specifically asked for a legislative and litigation update, especially when it went to the very end, where I think the mayor refined the motion, and it was basically kind of chopped down to just this report. Now, if
Okay, so the council adopted, we just adopted today, our meeting minutes, which specifically says, discuss her motion from a past meeting related to ICE and the Sheriff's Department. That's where it says after motion, but in the narrative, it says she requested a follow-up on the motion made at a previous meeting regarding ICE and the Sheriff's Department, and requested an update on new laws and ongoing litigation related to them. So whether you reviewed it separately or not, I think is, it's good information, but I don't know that it's binding. What's binding is what we adopted in our minutes. What's binding is what the clerk incorporated into our minutes. We as a council, you guys all voted unanimously to adopt these minutes. My recollection was that there was going to be an action item. There was going to be the draft resolution on ICE that I proposed, many months ago. So I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on this or can reaffirm my recollection of it, or why the minutes reflect my motion, but was it your unilateral decision to not incorporate my motion?
No, I went through the city clerk and we got a transcript from the actual meeting, and based on the transcript, this is what the motion was a legislative and litigation.
Did you look at the minutes?
I did not prepare the minutes, the city clerk did, but we went through the actual motion at the end of the meeting, transcribed it. Not only did the city clerk hear, but actually other staff members. We had multiple people look at it to confirm that it was correct.
Okay, well, the minutes don't reflect your review of the transcript. And I think the listening public, and especially because the minutes were posted and we just unanimously adopted the minutes, they expected that we are going to adopt this resolution, especially given the nationwide tenor on ICE activity and the most recent events. Yes, the discussion on the litigation update is important, but what's recommended in our staff report is a receive and file to essentially get general information about what's happening, in terms of the Board of Supervisors and in the courts. But there is no means by which we can act. And I was very clear on wanting the ability to act. And the minutes reflect that in two instances, specifically right after where it says motion, and then it says moved by Andrea Alarcon, seconded by Eric Olson, motion carried, and then it lists the votes. So I just don't know how we go from that to my motion not being at all incorporated, not only on the agenda, but in any reference to the motion at all in the narrative, in terms of the city in the background.
How would you like to proceed tonight? Would you want to get the legislative update that is prepared, and then we can discuss that after? I understand that the agenda doesn't specifically say that they'll have the ability to do public comment, but we 100% can allow that. So do you want to go through this,
I'm
how
happy
it's
to look
agendized? Or do you want
I would love that. I just want to know why. I get that she went through it, but if the documentation references, I don't understand I was very, very clear that we need the ability to take action because time is of the essence. Our community deserves and demands and expects us to take action, not just to listen to reports.
Why don't we move forward with the report
So
and then
just
see where we
silence?
go from there? It was a little, to me, it was a little confusing. It was, the motion was ambiguous. That's why I abstained. But why don't we go ahead and move forward with the report and see what happens?
What's not unclear are the minutes. Unambiguous is exactly what the motion was, but somehow it was wiped from what is being presented tonight.
Okay, do you want to proceed with getting the legislative updates?
Sure.
Okay. Who is presenting that?
Me. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. So as you recall, we previously chatted about the July 11th, 2025 federal court preliminary injunction against federal enforcement agencies. This injunction was stayed at the United Supreme Court while it is going through the appeals. So that's that one. On December 9th, 2025, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors adopted an ordinance prohibiting law enforcement officers from wearing facial coverings that obscure their face and personal disguises and requiring officers to wear visible identification when performing their duties. This law applies to Los Angeles County Incorporated. Shortly after this, the state enacted SB 805, the No Vigilantes Act, and SB 627, the No Secret Police Act, which took effect January 1st, 2026. The federal government has sued to enjoin the application of these laws to the federal government. That case is currently, they just had the hearing in January. We're awaiting an order to find out if these laws apply to the federal government. But what SB 805 does is it prohibits impersonating a federal law enforcement officer and imposes misdemeanor penalties. It requires any law enforcement agency operating in California to maintain and publicly post a written policy on visible identification of sworn personnel. And in addition, any law enforcement officer operating in California that is not uniformed must visibly display identification that includes their agency and either a name or badge number. Similarly, SB 627 prohibits a law enforcement officer, including federal law enforcement, from wearing a facial covering that it conceals or obscures their facial identity while in the performance of their duties. These law enforcement agencies operating in California must also maintain and publicly post a policy regarding the use of facial coverings. LASD is in the process of crafting their policies required by these new laws. And as I previously alluded, we are still waiting to hear from the court as to whether or not these laws apply to the federal government. And that would conclude the report. I'm available for any questions.
So my first question is prepared by, approved by both yourself and our interim city manager. Can somebody explain to me why, in terms of the background and discussion, why my motion is not even referenced and why the city's action on the item is not even referenced here?
Mayor, members of the City Council, as you can see in the minutes, if you look down to the middle of the page, of page 8 on the item, it states motion, discuss her motion from a past meeting related to ICE and Sheriff's Department and provide an update on ongoing litigation, the new bills, SB 805 and SB 27. That is exactly what we just did right now. We did go back to the video because we thought there may be more of a request. And that is a motion that's there in the
where are you
minutes, and that's
referencing?
just what passed.
Where are you referencing?
The minutes.
I'm looking at the minutes. Do you have a different version of the minutes than I do?
Page 8.
I'm
right
looking at page 8.
Yes, in the middle of the page, it says motion, discuss her motion from a past meeting relating to ICE and the Sheriff's Department, and provide an update on ongoing litigation, the new laws, SB 805 and SB 627, and the policies of the Sheriff's Department that they
Correct.
have to implement.
Correct. So it says motion, discuss her motion from a past meeting relation to ICE, right? That's what you're referencing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think we definitely need to clean up the process of how we add agenda items. I know that the conversation last time was a little messy, and I think where things fell off was in the clarification of the motion. Maybe, things weren't stated as you intended. And I'm not for sure that's what happened. That's where my brain goes. But we definitely need to find a way to figure out how to add these agenda items and put together the agenda. Because this,
I think the process by which we put items on the agenda is pretty clear. A motion, a second, and a vote by council, a majority of the council, and then it gets on the agenda. That's what our city attorney asked us to do a couple of months ago. That's what we did. And still, there was some means by which that vote of this council was overturned. And I have a problem with that. If the vote was taken and the minutes reflect that the motion was what it was, and you seconded it, I made the motion, you seconded it, it was clear in the minutes, it was clear in the narrative for the discussion in the minutes, how is there now ambiguity about what happened during that meeting? We already adopted these minutes, so they are now, set in stone. And then second, separate and apart from that, how is my motion and any prior discussions of the city council on this matter not included in the narrative of the staff report? That was my question to you, Madam City Attorney, and because it says prepared by and approved by Mr. Interim City Manager. How, when you reviewed this, was there no reference to the motion and the prior actions of this council related to the item?
So as I previously indicated, when we went through the transcript in the final motion that carried, it was just a legislative and litigation update on what I just discussed.
Okay,
That was
Mr.
all
City
that
Attorney,
survived.
City Manager?
That was also my opinion in which we went forward in this motion.
So just in your history, in the discussion part where it talks about the city contracts, there was no thought to include, based on our dialogue, there's no thought to include my motion the previous times that it was brought before the council?
When the motion was cut down, it seemed the intent was to remove that part and what was passed. And that's why we were left with just a legislative and litigation update.
Okay, for you to sort of impute intent, I think is improper. The intent was clear in the motion. It was clearly designated and outlined in the minutes. As the maker of the motion, if there was question about the intent, you should have come to me directly or directly to the seconder of that motion on the intent of that action.
Well, we did, and that was what we thought the intent of the motion was.
If the point is we just don't want to act as a council and we just want to sort of act like we're doing something but not really doing something, then just say it. That we don't have any intention on acting. Tell the people in our community that this city, its council, does not intend to take an action on the item. Okay, then that's one thing. But for us to take an action, for it to be adopted unanimously by the council, and then for individuals whose power does not supersede the council to make decisions to sort of eliminate or change motions that have already been made and adopted by the council, that's a whole nother thing. Second, the public participation component of this. Now we are being asked to move next, if we move the action item to next meeting, I was asked to move, and I think the whole city council was asked to move next council meeting to a Wednesday, which would then technically be an off regular council day. Is that intended to silence our community, to confuse people, to disincentivize public participation? I don't know. I just don't understand how a motion can be made, seconded by our mayor, adopted by this council, and it not be honored by our city management.
When you we get our agenda packets like a week or so before the meeting. So I was briefed, I believe, Monday or Tuesday last week, and nothing stood out to me. But there are things when I get briefed, I'm like, hey, you know, there's something here, or I'm not sure about this. Did you get a chance to address staff when you got your agenda packet?
My agenda packet was, I don't know why you received yours on Monday, because I don't get mine on the Monday before. I get mine, and there was a problem with the link that was sent to me. The agenda that was publicly posted was a former agenda. I emailed the city manager, and then they sent me new links. They said they were gonna update things. I didn't get it last Monday, so that's a problem. And then when I got the briefing, you know, I still had just received it a few minutes before my briefing, because they said, oh, they're gonna send me separate links to it. The problem is, it's not the briefings. It's the honoring of
It could have been resolved a
motion.
week. And I'm not sure if it's exactly Monday, but usually we get about a week or so with our agendas. So we can hammer out the details, and before we get to council, we could resolve some of these issues so we don't end up in a situation like this. And that could have been resolved. Did you address the staff and say, hey, this doesn't?
I talked to our city attorney, I talked to our city manager during my briefing about it.
Is this true?
We did not talk about elements being missed. I informed
Not
of
about
this-
elements being missed, but because I didn't receive it until what, minutes before my briefing? Is that correct?
The city council, yes, normally normally most of the council comes to the briefing. We weren't made aware that it was gonna be via Zoom until probably an hour or less before you attended via Zoom. So we have printed out agendas for the council when they come in, because they're in draft form. As I believe all the other 4 council members got a printed draft agenda because they came to City Hall.
When did they get their briefings, their briefing packages?
When they came for the briefing.
When? Did they get it on Monday? Because the agenda wasn't even ready,
They
to
got
my
it-
knowledge.
Council member, everyone receives it days, almost a week before. I believe Mayor received it on a Thursday. Councilmember Bishop received it on.
It might have been Wednesday or Thursday.
Thursday, we all got it on Thursday, not on a Monday or Tuesday. We get it on Thursday, staff is not available because the city's closed on Friday. And then it's like a matter of, you know, going through the stuff that we get on Thursday. And, because my briefing was also on Thursday, I got it the same day, Thursday.
That's correct, ma'am, and we dedicated an hour with the council members to go over them.
Yeah. Let's move on. Will you
Yeah.
work with me to figure out how to get it right for what you want to do?
I agree, but I just want to be clear that I'm doing as best as I can to serve our community and to be transparent with our community. I know that the Latino community that I represent expects and demands action immediately, because time is of the essence. The fear is real, and it is incumbent upon us to take action. And when last meeting, we made a motion that we were going to bring it back, and I think even the commenters referenced the resolution because they were under the impression that, and I hadn't even, by the way, I hadn't even spoken to them before that. They were under the impression that the resolution was going to be on the agenda as well, and it's not. And now we've got a meeting that's going to be moved, dates next meeting, or maybe potentially canceled if not moved. I just, you know, yes, we can move it to as soon as we can take action, wonderful. But it's really disappointing that it didn't happen this time. And I'm still unclear as to why.
Let's just move on from this. Work with me on that, and then also we need to work on the process of how the agendas are prepared and when they're presented. That was some of the frustrations that have been discussed previously, that, you know, I want to see the agenda in advance of my briefings because I want time to review it to inform my questions for those briefings. So let's just work together on that process. We'll work together on this other thing, and we'll move on.
I just hope that we don't go back to the way it used to be where only the mayor could put things on the agenda,
No.
because that really hurt a lot of council people, so.
No, we're gonna do a fair and equitable process, but the process we have now does need some tweaks. Okay, let's move on from that. Do you want me to call public comment on this legislative update that we received?
Would love to.
Okay, does anybody wish to speak on this item? Felix? Or Eugene, whoever's faster.
Yes, I really dislike the city attorney here taking her own biased opinions on this and removing it for the city council. We should get another attorney that's not biased, that's for the people of Palmdale, for the Mexicanos, the Latinos who live here, because this is a vital issue. And her coming from Orange County, whatever the hell, she doesn't care about this. So why should she have this authority to take this away from us, from you taking a stand? And you guys should have the courage to take a stand against ICE. The whole country is aware of what they're doing to us Latinos, killing innocent white people who are good and should not have been killed. If that doesn't strike your conscience, then something is wrong with you. You know, don't let the city attorney run this city council. You run it. She's paid by us. If she doesn't go along with us, fire her and get a new attorney.
Felix first, and then
Esto es una falta de respeto a la comunidad. Creo que esto se debe solucionar porque esto fue una votación que el concilio hizo. La abogada no tiene la autoridad de remover algo que ya está aprobado. Somos el 68% latino y no tenemos representación. Ella no puede remover algo que nos está afectando a nosotros solo porque ella quiere. Necesitamos transparencia, necesitamos respeto y ustedes lo tienen que poner. Si ella no está de acuerdo con ustedes, hay que removerla y agarrar más. Ya es tiempo de que ustedes nos den el respeto a nuestra comunidad y trabajen para nosotros.
It's easy to vent without a solution, right? However, as I sit there, that's what it looks like. Without communication, you made a move that should have been shared with the rest of the council.
Marcos, talk to me, please.
Having said that, look, I cannot echo it enough. Last name Loa, last name Betancourt, last name Alarcon. You have others in your staff, predominantly Latino surnames. We are the big community here. We strive, we lift this economy. And now we are being attacked nationally as a U.S. citizen, right? There are some people here that don't have to worry about that. But every day, children worry about their parents ever coming home of Latino descent. I don't know how else I could connect this to all of you, right? You have done many good things here for this city. Flip that page and entertain what is really going on with our Latino brothers and sisters right here in Palmdale. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, it's interesting listening to this discussion. It seems to me like the divide here is that maybe in the future, when issues like this happen, that last discussion was kind of messy when we were talking about this resolution the first time. Just a suggestion. I get that you guys went through the transcripts. Seems to me like that would be enough. But, as Ms. Alarcon pointed out, the adopted minute said something else. Maybe if this happens again, whoever's reviewing it goes through both of them to make sure that they're in agreement. Just a suggestion. I've got a lot to say about some of the misrepresentation that I've heard tonight about things that have happened in Minnesota. But it's kind of a moot point. There's no point in me discussing that. I will say this. I do think it's a little bit misleading if the council passes a resolution saying that ICE should or shouldn't do anything here. We have a constitution that contains a supremacy clause, and resolutions aren't binding anyway, not legally. I think you're giving false hope to part of the community. And, you know, it's interesting. Ms. Alarcon and I do not agree politically on most things, but I respect that she's trying to represent the people who she represents. I don't agree with them, but she's doing her job. Good. But again, the Constitution says what the Constitution says. And whatever you guys do regarding ICE, it has no teeth. The federal government trumps all. So I really, the only thing that bothers me about that is that there are Latinos in our community who may think that you guys passing some resolution against ICE doing this or that actually means something. It doesn't. Let's not give them false hope. Thank you.
I think you're doing a great job.
Please talk to me. You, in these meetings during public comment, you're to address the chair and the chair only. That's me.
All right.
I just want to keep it same with everybody.
I think you're doing a good job. To be quite honest with you, I've come in here in these meetings for well over, I think, a year now, and maybe it's just me, but you look awful young. I have a lawyer representing me right now in a case in Nevada. I listened to him on the phone and I thought the guy was like 24 years old. And when I found out he was older than me, I was very relieved, because an older lawyer has common sense and they know what's going on. A younger one is going to make mistakes. Personally, this all sounded like a fight between me and my wife. And most of it is worthless. We get along a lot better now because we decided, or at least I did, there are just some things not worth fighting over. Not before the public, anyway. When it comes to ICE, there's two sides to every story. I fully expect that if any of these ICE agents that were involved in anything will be prosecuted if they did something wrong. But you got to understand, use of force simply says, I don't have to know what you're thinking. I don't have to know that you're wanting to kill me. All it says is I have to have a reasonable fear, a reasonable thought. And if you're coming at me with a car or you're showing up with a gun, it's probably pretty good odds you're going to get shot. I personally think that you ought to have the police over there with ICE. Because you're not just protecting ICE, you're protecting the public. You're keeping the public from running over and spitting on someone, breaking out lenses on cars. And that's what you should be doing. Not taking and trying to get rid of ICE. They have a job to do, and they should do it. I went and looked some of this stuff up. Guess what? Nobody who's a citizen has been shipped out, has been deported. And only a handful have actually been detained. And if that's we have cops all up and down the freeway that detain.
Marcos, please don't do that.
That detain people on the side of the road all the time. They're supposed to do that. I want to reclaim my time. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not in Congress.
I'll give you your 3 seconds back.
But it's one of those things that you have to understand. If ICE is doing their job, leave them alone. Every single person who's been harmed with a conflict with ICE would not have been had they minded their own business and stayed home.
Thank you.
Jason Zink. I think Andrea's right on this point. If all we're doing is wasting time, let's just have a vote on it, and we'll know who supports it and who doesn't, and be on our way. I'd rather talk about the 5,000 housing units that we need, you know? I'd rather talk about our third world potholed streets and how we're going to fix them. That's where I want the attention to be done. As far as ICE, this resolution might actually make Palmdale a target with ICE, right? So I wouldn't even want to touch it. And I don't see what's wrong with our local sheriff. Our captain said there is no ICE in Palmdale that he's heard of, any raids, right? So we're making a big deal out of nothing right now. But what's wrong with getting criminal aliens who have raped, child molested, assaulted, killed? What's wrong? I can't imagine. I don't know of one person that would be for that. I say, let's give them all up. Let's get them out of Palmdale and make Palmdale safer. And then guess what? We give all those people up, the ICE goes away. The majority of all ICE agents are Latino, all the new ones, the majority. And then you add all the other people of color, the vast majority of all ICE agents. So I don't even know what's going on here. I say, have our captain, let's make a list with ICE. Let's get these people out of Palmdale as quick as possible. That way everybody can go live a happier, safer life. As far as the agenda, this agenda thing's been haunting this city council for a couple years. Before Eric and Andrea, this is common sense stuff. Why can't, you got 2 deputies, a city manager, an attorney, and a city clerk, and they can't create an agenda that's not chaotic and put more information like Palmdale Boulevard, paved from 50th to 70th. And then, the city manager, that's like a big deal, right? That should be new business. That shouldn't be on a consent calendar. A subject should be a new business and a resolution. Vote for it or not. Let's stop wasting so much time, dude. I'm getting old. Gray hair. I mean, I don't even look as good as I used to. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't even want to come to city council meetings, but I'm just so upset that nothing ever gets done because we're always just sidetracked and so much unnecessary chaos is created. And I'm wondering why. We got educated, college-educated, highly paid people, and we have chaos. Night.
Okay.
More about the 250th anniversary.
All right.
I want to be on the committee.
Can I just make a few quick,
Yes, but I'm
30
closing
seconds.
public comment.
wonderful.
Close,
Okay,
okay.
so just three quick comments. One, humans, no human is an alien. Just want to state that for the record. I'm very passionate about this issue because it affects me personally, it affects my daughter, and it affects every individual in the United States, whether you're black, brown, or white, or orange or green. It affects everybody because it's about you're right, the Constitution of the United States, it's about our civil liberties, it's about our civil rights, and we all need to be concerned about the protection of our personal interests in this matter. But separate and apart from the substantive political issue and our stances on ICE, I am vehemently opposed to and I object to the fact that two subordinates, whether they work together or not, it says that they both work to prepare the report, and one specifically, made a determination. I object to either of the two unilaterally undermining an action of this council. They work for us. Period. And our actions need to be respected, whether they like it or not.
Okay, do we need a motion to receive and file this? Or just let's receive it and file it? Great. Closed session, city attorney?
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council members. Tonight, we have 4 items. One of them has 2 cases. They will be item 11.1, 11.2, 11.3, and 11.4. And just for clarity, I am going to recommend that Councilmember Alarcon recuse herself from one of the items under 11.2.
Okay, do we take public comment on closed session?
And to be clear, just for the record, it's wonderful that the city attorney opines and requests that I recuse myself, but I'm not obligated to take her advice. If I want to recuse myself, I will.
Okay. On the agenda, it calls for public participation on closed session. Does anybody want to talk about anything on the closed session discussion? Great, let's go.
Mayor, members of City Council, for item 11.1, there was 2 actions. One was to continue the item to the next council meeting, the item that was on hand, and the other one is to provide a report that outlines the process for new, additional, or supplemental city attorney services.
Oh, we're moving on to item 11.2. For those 2 cases of initiation of litigation, there is no reportable action for either item under 11.2. For 11.3, public employment, the subcommittee made its recommendation to the city council, and the city council will continue the city manager recruitment process. For 11.4, there was no reportable action, and we're good to go.
To Wednesday.
Thanks for tuning in.
See you.